the Mavericks. Timberwolves forward Karl Anthony Towns told ESPN's Ramona Shelburne he plans to return from a calf strain against the Hawks tonight.
If you need to hire, then you need Indeed. The all-in-one hiring platform helps you schedule and conduct video interviews right from your employer dashboard. Finding your next great hire has never been more streamlined. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
If you haven't.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Kenner and Cab with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kenner. He's Kev Nash. We are up and rolling. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, though?
What is today? Wednesday?
Hump day.
It is. It's the middle of the day or middle of the week. We are ready to go again. So, World Baseball Classic. You watch any of that last night?
I did.
I wanted to see what all the hubbub was about.
Oh,
I was wrong.
it was good, wasn't
it? Was actually really good. It was actually really good. Still doesn't change my mind about the fact that I wouldn't, as good as it was, I still wouldn't want to risk losing one of my star players. If I'm a fan of one of those teams, I if I'm an Angels fan, the thought of, man, that was fun and all, but man, what if Shohei Ohtani all of a sudden like tears something? In that,
they ain't making the playoffs anyway.
That's a valid point. That's a very valid point. Let's just pretend he was a Guardian.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's a completely different story now all of a sudden. So nonetheless, but World Baseball Classic last night, Japan against Team USA against Japan, and it was like a storybook. And you could not have wrote that script any better. It's about all the scripts for football and their endings. We saw the script play out even perfectly for the World Baseball Classic last night. But Shohei Ohtani strikes out, the best hitter in baseball and Trout or whatever. But so today, Mad Dog Russo and Stephen A. Smith get into a little back and forth about last night's game. And I know everyone's piling on Mad Dog Russo, but they said, was that the biggest at bat in the history of baseball? And everyone is ripping on Mad Dog Russo for saying it was a big at bat, but big at bat, like he struck out his teammate who strikes out 170 times a season. He struck out 2 times previously in that game already. Why are we acting like striking out was as big a deal as what we're making it out to be? But I kind of agreed with them on that. But right? Like it was a big at bat.
The biggest at bat in the history of baseball. Ever heard of this dude named Jackie Robinson? And like that's like monumental, like on so many different levels. There's plenty of huge at bats in baseball. Like, how about everyone in the World Series? Like, come on, man. It's a very fun exhibition. That's what this is. This isn't for gold medals. This isn't for World Series titles. This isn't for pennants. This is a very fun, very entertaining exhibition. That's what that is.
I know this sounds bad. What is that? You bring up a good point, though. Like, the World Cup is what? Or the World Baseball Classic is what?
I under my impression, it's an exhibition of great talent, and that can be fun. I mean, I've seen fun preseason games before. Doesn't mean it means anything like in the big picture. I mean, this isn't going to replace MLB.
So it's a global all-star game.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I have no problem admitting, people think that, oh, you should do your homework. Well, maybe I should have, but I've never been into the World Baseball Classic. I just haven't. So I really don't get that into it. I got into it because I like drama and social media drama of people arguing on there, talking about, oh, they're just meaningless exhibition games. And others are like, oh my gosh, look at the ratings. Tell the people in Japan and Korea that these are just meaningless exhibition games. I think both could be true at the same time. In this country, it's not valued as much as in other countries, and they may not view it as an exhibition game, but we may do. But they don't have. I mean, they have their pro leagues over there,
right?
So I don't know. Look, bottom line is regardless, strip it all away. That had the World Series, Super Bowl, crowd vibe, everything you can ask for. And that was the greatest exhibition ending, ever right there for that. But no, I understand. I mean, some people are getting super sensitive about it, but I am curious. What do you put? Just global bragging rights, I guess, is all you're doing. I don't know.
I guess. I mean, it was cool, and I don't want to diminish the cool factor of it, but the biggest at bat in baseball history, that's a bit much.
And that's what was talked about on First Take earlier today, nonetheless. But we'll get into more of that coming up later on the show. Again, I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Yesterday, we didn't have time to dive into this completely, but my guy Baker Mayfield, back in the day, we have been doing the show for a few years now. back in the day, we would, Kev would always try to, I'd say, defend Baker's honor. We have to bake it or take it. Are we going to take Baker Mayfield or are we going to take the other quarterback? Baker Mayfield against the field. We used to play that game all the time. But now there's another quarterback that's not coming into the fold, but that's back in the fold that, is talking a lot, and he's kind of putting his name back out there. And to be fair to him, he's putting his talent back out on display at an Auburn Pro Day. Here's Cam Newton.
I thought he should have been suspended for the rest of the regular
Cam Newton
season.
should not be suspended. I don't have the audio anymore. I'm not really sure what happened to that. My apologies. Cam Newton said, I'm not allowed to say the complete quote. My apologies for messing that one up. But that there are not 32 mother effers better than him. That there are not 32 quarterbacks in the National Football League better than him. And, of course, I joked. I said, he's right. I agree with him 100%. There are not 32 quarterbacks better than him. I think there's more. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So now we're going to do a little Cam versus the field. Are there actually 32 quarterbacks in the NFL better than Cam Newton? Kev Nash and I will go through the list of the starting quarterbacks for each team as we currently sit here right now with, and then maybe throw in some backups if there's time. But let's start. Do you want to drive or am I driving?
You got it. You got it.
All right. Well, hold on. You got to hold up. Yes. All right. So we'll start the drive here. We'll start in the AFC East. I think this one's going to be pretty simple. Josh Allen or Cam Newton?
Josh Allen.
All right.
It's going to be very quick, by the way.
Tua Tagovailoa or Cam Newton?
Tua.
Well, the Patriots. I mean, my God, you have Happy or whatever, what Lappy or what's that dude's name? The backup quarterback. I'll take him over
Zappy.
Zappy. Yeah, I put enough letters in front of there. But you have Mac Jones and Zappy or Cam Newton.
Mac Jones already beat him out, so Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. All right. Now you have the Jets. Let's just say it's Aaron Rodgers.
See, we're playing the presumptuous game.
Okay, no, forget it. Strip it down. Who do they have left on that run?
They have Zach Wilson. I'm going with Cam. Go with Cam.
I'll go with Cam, but
we got one.
Cam,
I got you one, baby.
That's a bad quarterback spot to be in. Hoofa. The Ravens. Oh crap, another one.
Aha.
You have a Pro Bowl quarterback. All right. In who's the I'm drawing a blank now on the name of the backup quarterback. Huntley or Cam Newton?
Cam.
Right now I'm taking Huntley, but not by much. But I am taking Huntley. Keep in mind, though, there are reports that the contingency plan for the Ravens, if they do lose Lamar Jackson, that if they lose Lamar Jackson, that Cam Newton is the guy that they are potentially kicking the tires on, bringing in just because the style of the offense, yada, yada.
Fair.
Joey B. Joe
Next.
Burrow. Yeah, I picked Cam Newton, too. No. Deshaun Watson.
Next.
All right. Pickett. If Cam Newton's the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback,
Pickett.
Is he winning you football games? Can he pick
Pickett?
All right, the Texans. Assuming so, you have 3 quarterback options. They're the rookies. So any of those rookies.
Any of the rookies. Well, no, 2 of the rookies. Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. If it's the other rookie, it'd be Cam for me. But they're not going to get that. They're going to get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud.
All right. The Colts. Who is the Colts quarterback right now?
Me and you. So Cam.
By default. The Jaguars.
There's a lot of defaults going on here, Cam.
Trevor Lawrence.
Moving on.
Trevor Lawrence is what I thought. Okay, the Titans.
All right. Okay. A real debate.
Ryan Tannehill.
He's still there. I thought they moved on to Malik Willis.
Nope.
Cam. Cam over both.
Well,
Cam over both.
Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback of the Titans as the number 1 seed in the playoffs the year before last. And you take A.J. Brown, you took a lot of weapons away from him. He wasn't winning a lot of football games for you, but you took all the talent away from him. I'm still going to go with Ryan Tannehill there from the Titans.
Look at you. Nice guy. Again, I'm proud.
Cam Newton, back in the day, is not even a question, but Cam Newton right now.
Yeah, right now. Got to go into here now. Yep.
All right, Russell Wilson. Let him cook, or we cook him with Cam?
Russ.
All right. Patrick Mahomes.
Next.
The Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo, porn star Jimmy.
Next.
All right, and Justin Herbert.
Next.
All right. So where are we at after the AFC run?
For me, Cam would be a starter for the Jets, Ravens, Colts, and Titans. For you, he would only be a starter for the Jets.
And that's just for now until Aaron Rodgers gets there. And then Jordan Love, I'm still not picking Cam over Jordan Love. But that's besides the point. NFC East. All right. Obviously got Dak Prescott.
Dak.
All right. Daniel Jones.
I want to say Cam, but it's Daniel Jones.
It makes you think. But yeah, Daniel Jones still. I mean, he's still a pretty athletic quarterback that makes plays with his legs. We're going to find out if he actually has an arm or not because they actually gave him weapons. He's going to have weapons this upcoming season. Jalen Hurts next. The Commanders have Jacoby Brissett.
They have Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell, if I'm not mistaken. I'm rolling with Jacoby Brissett out of those guys.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett last year proved he could actually throw the football. Cam, I would like to think could throw the football, but I mean, Jacoby Brissett, we just saw it. I like Jacoby Brissett in that situation. Sam Howell, whatever. It's a coin flip at that point, but whatever. The Bears, Justin Fields. The Lions, Jared Goff.
Young Goffy.
He's leading that offense. I'm going with Goff. I mean,
this is the first time in history you've given Jared Goff some love.
I mean, but if the Lions didn't just have the most explosive offense in the NFL last year, statistically, I wouldn't be giving them this much love. But I don't think it's possible to have one of the best passing offenses in the league and then not give credit to the quarterback. I can't think of another example where that's been the case. It just sounds weird. So
fair, very fair.
Jordan Love or Cam Newton?
Oh, man, this is tough. You're going off a guy who hasn't played in a year, that being Cam Newton, and lost his job to Mac Jones, to another guy who's only played 3 games in his NFL career, and he didn't look good in any of them. I'm rolling with Jordan Love.
Got to go with Jordan Love just because of the fact that, the youth factor as far as that's concerned. And I mean, I really don't have any other professional analysis as to why I'm picking Jordan Love other than the fact that the Packers say he's ready and that they're ready to go. I mean, the NFL is telling you, the league as a whole is passing on Cam Newton as of right now. The Ravens are the only team I've heard associated to that. So I'm going to go with Jordan Love as well. Kirk Cousins, Kirk Cousins, he didn't flatter me this past season. Usually I'm pro Kirk Cousins and you're not. We've switched this year for whatever reason, but I think it's because I like the flashier quarterbacks, and he was too flashy for you. He doled it down a little bit.
Yes, stop turning the ball over. Yeah. Amazing what that does for me.
One of the best records and out right away in the first round.
Wasn't his fault.
No, but yeah, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Okay. NFC South. This is where it can get dicey. Who the hell's the quarterback for the Falcons?
Desmond Ridder.
Oh, Cam.
I'm gonna go with Desmond Ridder.
Oh, because you see in Luke Fickle.
Luke Fickle ain't down there no more. Luke Fickle up there in Wisconsin getting all the transfers. I think Desmond Ridder might have something. I think he might have something. He has big receivers, and I don't mean like big time receivers. I mean he has large human beings to throw the football to. The kid from USC and obviously the tight end from Florida, they got him. Those 2 guys. So even if he's not throwing accurately, they can still make those catches. So I would roll with Desmond Ridder right now.
So Cam for me for the Falcons, but Carolina Panthers, they're number 1 overall pick. I'm going to do the same with them as we do with Houston. Stroud, whoever their quarterback is over Cam. One of the 2 rookies.
He went back there for a second time and lost his job again. So whomever is their starting quarterback, I would roll with it.
Derek Carr, Cam Newton.
DC.
All right. And then
look at the smile on this guy's face.
Baker Mayfield with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cam versus the field. Baker or Cam?
Bake.
I'm going with Baker as well.
No, you don't say.
I lost a lot of sleep last night.
Surprise.
All right. The Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray, Cam Newton.
Kyler Murray.
The Rams, Matthew Stafford or Cam.
The Super Bowl winning Matthew Stafford. Even though I'm not sure how much tread is left on that tire, I will still roll out there with Stafford.
Stafford's numbers will look a little interesting this year because, they took all his they still have cut, but the offensive line is depleted. They took a lot of people off the defense, but without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a bigger Stafford guy than he is. I'll go with Stafford easily over there. Now, the Niners have, you have Trey Lance. You have, they just have 2 now, right? Just
Yeah.
So Trey Lance, because Garoppolo's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So Trey Lance or Purdy? Let's go with just Purdy. Brock Purdy, Cam Newton.
I'll put those 3 in order. I'll play your game, but I'll put a twist on it. I will go Purdy, Cam, then Lance.
Because I have no clue who the hell Trey is.
Exactly.
Nothing. At least Jordan Love, we watched him in preseason games. We had that preseason film. Trey, there might be a little preseason film out there, but not even with the starting group. I mean, So yeah, I'll go.
He's
Purdy.
played 5 quarters of NFL football.
Yep. And I most recently watched Purdy in the playoffs throw for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions against the Seahawks. So I'll go with Purdy over Cam Newton as far as that goes. And now the Seattle Seahawks, speaking of them, their quarterback is
Geno Smith.
Geno Smith or Cam Newton?
I'm going to roll with Geno. You got to give Geno a ton of credit. Geno was a starter in this league, accepted the backup role, and then once he got his second opportunity, he helped guide his team back to the playoffs. So I'm going to roll with Geno over one Cam Newton.
All right. What about Andy Dalton?
Cam.
Andy Dalton's been able to hold down every backup position he's had over the last couple of years. Cam Newton's been pushed out.
So now we're transitioning away from obviously starter
kinda,
to like who would you want as a backup?
Well,
just so I'm clear.
No, well, I guess I'm just throwing out because he said 32 QBs better than him.
Okay.
So we've gone through technically the starters. But
Right.
then there's those other fringe guys. This game would probably be easier after the draft and once we kind of have a little bit clearer idea.
But you're right. You're right. You're
so
right.
You have like the Zappies, you have Cooper Rush, you have Andy Dalton, probably missing
Jameis,
some.
like dudes that are like sometimes starters. In
Those
the league.
floaters. I mean, as far as that's concerned. So yeah.
Andy Dalton, if we're talking about, hey man, we want you to accept a backup role. Definitely Jameis either way for me. Cooper Rush, if we're playing the accept a backup role. I like Billy Zappa. Western Kentucky. I would take Zappa over Cam, starter or backup.
I'm kind of thinking going around the league, there's no other significant backup that I could think of right now. That's kind of on that fringe. I mean, Baker was one that I thought was interesting. He's obviously the starter in Tampa right now. But they also have Kyle Trask, who they were trying to tell everyone that they liked, but they jumped on Baker the second that they could. Yeah, I think we're good. By the way, Aaron Rodgers, technically we said Jordan Love, and then we didn't use him on the Jets. So Aaron Rodgers is up there.
Right, absolutely.
Are the 32 quarterbacks better than Aaron Rodgers or than Cam Newton?
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
I'm bummed that it didn't work with the Patriots because I thought that if there was a coach out there or at least a system that would be able to kind of gravitate towards strengths, weaknesses, I thought that would be the spot to get it done. Then he went back to Carolina, kind of hoped. It reminded me when AI went back to Philly. You were kind of just hoping it'd be kind of maybe just that scenery, the putting that same jersey back on. Maybe it'll kind of pull some of that old. It just didn't do it there either. So it's not. I mean, Cam can't say it's like it's not fair to him right now. I mean, there's been a lot of opportunities for him that he hasn't been able to jump on and really pull it off. He got 2 chances with the Patriots. So
right. It's for me. It's as simple as this. There's guys in the league that are willing to accept a backup role, and there's guys that aren't. And he's not willing to accept a backup role in order to continue to play in this league. You know, there's tons of guys out there that used to be starters that are now backups, and hey, they enjoy their time in the NFL. Look at who was a quarterback from Michigan? Henne. Chad Henne used to be a starter for the Jaguars, a solid player in the NFL. He accepted a backup role, won himself 2 Super Bowls, and was a major cog in them winning Super Bowls. He came in and helped beat your Browns, and he came in and led a 99-yard drive in the playoffs this past year. So, you know, I know all we as fans look at as the superstars and the starters, but without those 2 performances from Chad Henne, the Chiefs might not win the Super Bowl. So he accepted his role. And we talk about role players. There's no bigger role players in football than the offensive line. They don't get any glory. They don't score touchdowns. They don't spike the football. They don't wave incomplete. They don't signal first down. As a backup quarterback, you have to be able to accept your role to go out there, prep everybody else, get the defense ready for the offense that they're going to be facing, and be a team guy. And I don't think Cam is mentally in that place to do that. And by the time he gets to that mentally place, he's definitely not going to have the arm talent to be a backup quarterback. So probably over for him.
Jake Overholt's messages in. He said Taysom Hill.
No, Cam Newton.
Taking Cam. That's a tough. I'm still going to go Taysom Hill just because of the athleticism and what he brings to the table and the being versatile. But I guess from just a quarterback perspective, still going to go with Taysom Hill for right now. I just haven't seen Cam shine.
I haven't seen Taysom Hill shine since BYU. I've seen him shine playing wide receiver and tight end and running back. I haven't seen him shine at the quarterback.
He's on a roster. He keeps getting paid.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Cam Newton, be a tight end. Be a tight end.
I respect it. He out here, make sure he keep getting them checks. I mean, he's a special teams demon. I respect it. Like, that's accepting the role, though. That's accepting the role. That's like, hey, I'll be a Swiss Army knife. I'll do whatever you need me to do, coach, as long as I got a roster spot.
Let's see. John Slayton says, is Cam willing to be a backup? Seems to be an issue. If he comes in knowing he's a backup and doesn't cause issues, then he has a job. But until he does that, I can't see another team wanting that distraction in the locker room. I don't think it's a distraction. Like, keep in mind, like, a guy wanting to be a starter is not a distraction.
Right.
That's a distraction for him. I don't think it's a distraction to the locker room. I mean, the locker rooms, Bill Belichick looked at him and said, you're not a starter.
Right.
And that wasn't a distraction. To be fair, Cam stood on the sideline for games. Like, I don't think it's fair to say he's not a distraction. But
we make him a distraction because he's Cam Newton. He's a former Heisman Trophy winner, former national champion, former MVP of the league, helped get the Panthers to the Super Bowl. His aura, his personality just gives off like, I'm a leader, and people do follow Cam Newton. And if you got people following the backup quarterback as opposed to the starting quarterback, it's a problem.
Kenner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast: rain, breezy conditions, 50 tonight. Showers and breezy and 68 Thursday. More rain and 51 on Friday. I'm Rick Schnuck for 1410 ESPN Radio.
College basketball frickin' heats up this year like never before. Frickers brings back a fan favorite, frickin' street tacos that add to the drama that the tournament provides. Frickin' chicken tacos, char-broiled chicken tacos, and Mississippi barbecue taco. Frickers also scores with a 48-ounce personal pitcher of ice-cold domestic draft beer for only $6.50 all the games. Frickin' street tacos, $6.50 personal pitchers, nowhere else but the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Ohio's public schools serve 1.6 million students of all races, backgrounds, genders, and abilities. The diversity in our classrooms is what make them such powerful learning environments for all of us. This Disability Awareness Month, we're celebrating our public schools' vital role as safe, welcoming places for all children to learn, grow, and thrive. No exceptions.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Spring is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including all the March basketball tournament parties. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wines, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel and gift cards. You can call, walk in, or drive through. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
3 Doors Down, live. Away from the Sun Anniversary Tour. Friday, July 7th, Rose Music Center at the Heights. A special guest, Candlebox, their farewell year of touring. Tickets on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com and RoseMusicCenter.com. 3 Doors Down with Candlebox. Away from the Sun Anniversary Tour.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 800-993-2150, 800-993-2150. Free bottles for limited time. So call now, 800-993-2150, 800-993-2150.
This is Buster Olney, host of the Baseball Tonight podcast, inviting you to join us We go 3 days a week with great guests from players such as Mike Trout and Carlos Correa, managers like Dusty Baker and Dave Roberts, general managers like Brian Cashman and Alex Anthopoulos, and our regulars, Tim Kirkchin, Sarah Langs, Jeff Pass, and Carl Ravitch. Baseball is a great fishbowl of humanity, and we go big game fishing every day. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
A good work partner knows what you need before you need it. That's how it feels when you work with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps get to know your business and have the industry knowledge that can help you prepare for what's ahead. They'll deliver your team's workwear freshly laundered. Make sure your first aid and safety supplies, mats, mops, and towels are stocked when you need them. And your fire extinguishers are inspected and in working order. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Get 50% off tax prep at Jackson Hewitt. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Hey, it's Max Kellerman, and you're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 WINGAM.
Ken and Cat back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. If you want to give us a call, you could do so. 518-1410, 518-1410, or you could text us at 518-1410. Same number to call and text. You can weigh in on the conversation there. We're also live on the Facebook page, the Josh Skinner Show Facebook page and ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. That's where you can go and check us out, hang out with us there, interact with the show. We'll pull your comments into the show and answer any questions or just general feedback off of your responses on whatever select topics that we are on at that particular moment. But we opened up, of course, with Cam Newton saying there wasn't 32 quarterbacks in the NFL better than him. So we opened up with just kind of Cam versus the field, kind of going down the list of starting quarterbacks in the NFL. How many starting quarterbacks in the NFL would you take, or would you take Cam over any of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL? If you missed that, you can catch that on our ESPN Dayton YouTube channel coming up here in a moment. All right. So much going on in the world of sports, of course, and there's just different audio bites, different storylines kind of going on all at one time. So we just do a quick swoop on our Say What segment. And our first edition, or our first topic at hand, or subject at hand, if you will, for our Say What segment, we're going to start with Marcus Spears and, of course, all the coverage with the NFL draft. Marcus Spears on Bryce Young.
Watching him at Alabama and doing what he's been doing 2 years. And remember, Mel, you know this, but I want the audience to remember, Bryce Young didn't have the luxury of having the type of receivers that we've grown accustomed to seeing Alabama have. The year that he did and had Jamison Williams, he was to the tune of 47 touchdowns and 7 interceptions and threw for almost 5,000 yards. For me, it's clear that the young man should be the #1 draft pick based on what his tape and his resume said.
So brings up interesting points. Bryce Young, again, did not have as many weapons this past year, loaded with weapons the year before. Yeah. I mean, when you look at all the pieces he had around him, I mean, it made his job very easy coming in. First year as a starter, I mean, he had weapons galore to work with. Did not have that as much this past year. Look, most times we say sometimes it's hard to get true evaluations of quarterbacks who their job is so easy when they're in college. You think of Joe Burrow, who had, Jamar Chase, who obviously had, every weapon, Justin Jefferson, he had every weapon that you could think of, right? They won a national championship, arguably the greatest college football team of all time from a statistical standpoint, dominating standpoint to players that went to the draft. He went #1 overall, won a Heisman, yada, yada. To Joe Burrow's credit, though, he went to the NFL. Now, he still has a ton of weapons there, but I mean, the game just looks as easy to him with weapons or without weapons and yada, yada. So as far as this goes, normally I'd buy into that type of stuff. Like, I know that'll be used against CJ Stroud. Oh, well, look at all the NFL wide receivers he had. What's he do without talent? Blah, blah, blah. Well, it's NFL jobs to give you talent. That's why I don't like when people say that. Well, what's he going to do when he has less talent? Well, then that's on the NFL team for not putting a quarterback that if the quarterback is proven, man, when you give him talent, he could succeed. Well, that's the case for most.
Right.
So if an NFL team drafts Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, doesn't give him talent, and then says, well, I don't know why they worked in Ohio State and Alabama. It's because they had talent there, and you're not giving him talent here. I think Bryce Young, it's not about whether he can play with talent or not. It simply comes down to the size. And it's not because he can't see over the offensive or defensive lines. It's going to come down to the Tua Tagovailoa situation. Because of the smaller frame and being thrown around a lot more, is his body going to be more susceptible to injuries, most importantly, head injuries? That's what I would be more concerned about with Bryce Young than anything else. Yeah. That's why I think a lot more people are starting to gravitate more towards our guy, CJ Stroud.
Yeah, they always have a traditional style of a quarterback. I mean, CJ Stroud is that. It's just the funny thing about CJ Stroud is people were clamoring him to run, and you rewind the clock maybe like 10, 15 years ago, that was frowned upon. Like, why is he running? Don't do that. Just throw it. And then you take a look at Bryce Young, and I agree with Marcus a lot. I think Bryce Young processes the game and sees it and diagnoses where to go with the ball a lot faster than CJ Stroud. But it is the size thing for me. The height for me, I have nothing. Okay, he's 5'11", 5'10". I don't care. He can still make the throws, and there's throwing angles and there's lanes for him to throw the ball. Not concerned about his height. I know he weighed in at 205 at the combine. Trust me, by the time the season gets here, he ain't gonna weigh 205 because I mean, you could just look at his frame. He's a small person. He's not only short, but he's small, and that has to be worrisome. That it for me trumps the fact that he is like elite mentally. He has the arm talent. For me, that size thing would be alarming and would be a red flag for me.
And again, you can weigh in on each and every one of these sound bites and topics at hand in the comment section. We'll react to your responses coming up here in just a moment. We move on to the NBA. Ja Morant, of course, has been making his way back into arenas and has been spotted on the sidelines after missing some time after a couple videos, whether it was in the strip club with guns and with all these other things that have kind of come about that's been a little bit concerning. I mean, we've talked about these storylines from earlier in the season where he had some of his guys. I mean, it was against the Indiana Pacers were involved, friends of his, people in his circle that have waving weapons and just kind of not jumping people, but kind of just running up on people a little bit. Yeah,
people, for sure.
And very weird storylines that we were like, wait a minute, what is going on? Well, he served his suspension, kind of. It was backloaded, or not backloaded, but I guess served time, if that's how you want to call it. But he's coming back a little sooner than most had anticipated, including Jay Will from Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Max. Take a listen.
I think it's going to be $600 million
That's
plus.
not the right one.
I thought he should have been suspended for the rest of the regular season without pay, and his return should have been subject to successful counseling from the NBA. I think whenever you involve guns and alcohol and all this other stuff, I think there's a high standard that needs to be set in the bar that needs to be set around the league and setting that kind of example. And now come back and play in the playoffs. But I thought the punishment was a little bit too lenient. Everybody makes mistakes.
So, for one, I agree with him. I don't know really what this pause did. I think the NBA, the Grizzlies and the NBA, in my opinion, kind of worked together on this because it was one of those like, okay, we need to reassess the aesthetics of this situation. Unfortunately for Ja, I don't think any decision was made in the best interest of him. This was made in the best interest of the NBA and the Memphis Grizzlies and the perception of everything else. Because unfortunately, it's going to have to take that gun being used for something horrendous before real action is taken. And I don't mean legal action. I just mean like, how many more times does this have to keep happening with him? It just seems like it's a pattern that could be leading to something in the wrong direction or something happening that's really bad. I mean, but like, he needed time to go get some counseling. You mean a couple sessions with the counselor, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm completely better now. I'm not gonna, and we're saying completely better. I don't even know wrong with him. Like, I don't even know how to assess this. Not really comfortable talking about it. I don't
Mhm.
really have an opinion on it. I think the NBA looks foolish here, not Ja. I think the NBA looks foolish. Whatever he needed to assess himself during that little pause in the action,
Mhm.
that wasn't long enough. If you think that was long enough for him to fix whatever it is you think it needs to fix, this was all about aesthetics for how the NBA handled this, and I still don't think they got it right.
Yeah, there's no timetable on fixing things. Like, this isn't a carburetor where you say to your auto dealership and they say, all right, come back in 3 hours, your carburetor will be perfectly fine. No, if this is truly about someone's mental health and dealing with stress, like, these things take time. This isn't something you unpack in a weekend. This is something that you continue to unpack over and over and over again. And I agree with Jay Will about the continued counseling and clearance from the NBA about counseling, making sure he checks off whatever boxes that they wanted him to do. But the other part I disagree with is the suspension for the rest of the regular season and then come back in the playoffs. I mean, if you're suspended, why come back for the playoffs? Like, what makes the playoffs so special that you get to come back for that no matter what? I think you sit them down until things are okay. And for me, I'm not sure if things are okay. And another part is, I was actually talking to my brother about this, and his whole point was, outside of the fact that he's waving a gun and on social media, and he's had other incidents involving weapons and everything like that. This young man was in the strip club with his shirt off. Like, you hustling backwards. Like, you go to the strip club to see them naked. They don't come to see you naked. You know what I mean? So, like, there's a whole lot that
Wait,
needs
you
to
don't
be
take
unpacked.
when you go, you don't take your shirt off at a
No,
strip
no,
club?
no. I keep mine on.
Oh, okay. Oof, my bad.
So he has a lot to unpack. And if it's truly really about, getting better, then I hope there's continued counseling. I don't want it to be a situation like, all right, man, I did this weekend, I'm out of here. I passed the course and now I'm back to my regular life. But I truly do believe that Ja will get over this, just like Carmelo got over his situations and Allen Iverson got over his situations. Like, we've seen a lot of guys that get thrust with a lot of money and spotlight who go through a rough patch and ultimately they turn out on the good side. And I think that Ja will do the same.
My thing is, what is he seeing counseling for? Not that
It
it's any
said
of
it
our
was
business.
dealing how to deal with stress.
Okay. But I also don't believe that strip clubs are how you deal with stress. I think strip clubs are what you do when you're young, rich, and you hang out with a bunch of people that go to strip clubs. And like, that's why this is why the thing of like mental health almost becomes at times, and I'm not saying I don't believe about the mental health, because that's not for me to say, but I feel like at times how leagues are going to shield media and any kind of criticism of anything is just drop the mental health thing out there. And that's a shield that'll keep any of us from having to say anything. Because I'm like, what are you? Okay, you're seeing a therapist for what? Okay, I'm not privy to that. I don't need to be privy to that. I don't need to know that. But I'm stressed, so that's why I go to strip clubs. What are you talking about? Like, that doesn't. That's where I'm like,
Well, I
I'm like,
mean,
we're
I
stretching this a
think
little.
people,
I know people who aren't stressed to go
yeah,
to strip clubs.
exactly. I think like some people have an outlet that they do. Some people drink, some people smoke, some people go shopping, some people go work out. Some people look for fun and excitement and things of that nature. So I can't tell somebody how their stress relief is going to come out. I think the bigger issue is not the strip club. I think the issue is the guns.
Yeah.
Like, the guns constantly.
That's a good point. And I didn't really mean to bring up the strip club thing, but like this, because like that's where the videos and pictures
Right,
came from.
exactly.
But like, okay, so I'm going to go see a counselor, and this isn't about the mental health side. I know it is, but it isn't. For me, I'm like, okay, the league is saying, well, he's going to counseling so he can come back now.
Right.
But like, what are you doing? So he's going to counseling. What is the barometer of what needs to be reached for you to say, okay, he's good to come back? And also, I mean, who's to say that he's actually a bad person? Like, who's to say that this guy doesn't need to be back at I'm just so torn on how to approach this, because you mean to tell me that Ja just 1 week is at strip clubs, waving guns, throwing $50,000 of cash in the air, waving it like he just don't care. And then the next week it's all right. And if you turn to songs,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. No, like, that's not happening.
Right.
So that's why I find some of this laughable. It's more about the aesthetics for the NBA more than it is about the actual benefit of the player. I guess,
Right.
is
And
what I'm
then,
trying to say.
but that goes to, all right, so how long is this suspension supposed to last? Like, we just supposed to sit him down forever until we deem that he's okay? Like, at some point, he does need to go back to work. I mean, take an example, like people that do go to stress counseling or marriage counseling, guess what? They go after work. And then on Monday at 9:00, they coming back to work to punch the clock. Like it or not, basketball is his job. So he can do both. He can go play basketball in the NBA and he can still continue counseling. And that's like the biggest takeaway that I heard from Jay Will is like, all right, let's make sure this is ongoing. Let's just make sure like, all right, he's back playing. We're done. Kind of goes to your point. Like, is this just a simple cover up or is this truly about helping somebody get better?
All right. The next up, last night, World Baseball Classic. We saw Shohei Ohtani strike out Mike Trout in the final at bat for Japan to go on to win the World Baseball Championship, of course. Now, what was interesting about this is right away after that game last night, Shohei Ohtani, not just the best baseball player in the world right now, but man, is he the best baseball player ever, considering he's not just and by the way, he's not just a guy that can pitch and hit. This stuff used to drive me crazy. Hear me out on this. Michael Lorenzen, Reds fans and like the Reds the nerdy Reds fans, there's a certain pocket. Michael Lorenzen, man, he is so great. He could hit and he could play in center field and he could pitch. Well, he couldn't pitch very well. He hit the ball at like a 150 rate. So I'm like, okay, so he doesn't hit the ball really well, but he hits well for a pitcher. Oh, okay. And then he could play center field. Well, they made him stand out there, but I don't know if he played anything. But people love Michael Lorenzen because he can catch, he can hit. I'm like, he's hitting 150. What are we doing here? He can't hit the ball. I mean, he could hit for a pitcher, and that's still bad. But I say this because when we talk about Shohei Ohtani, if you sign Shohei Ohtani as a pitcher only, you're getting one of the best pitchers in baseball. And if you get Shohei Ohtani as just a position player and just a hitter, you're getting one of the best hitter and position players in baseball, Kev. We have never seen this where you have equally as dominant a pitcher as you have a hitter.
Right.
So now the big question is of course, okay, man, we've seen a $500,000 contract go to Mike Trout. We've seen $400 and $300 million contracts be thrown out all over. A contract that we just could not believe in, a $225 million contract to Joey Votto back in 2012. Fans still bring that up as if they just can't comprehend or wrap their head around it. And that seems like a steal of a contract in today's baseball right about now. But so what kind of money are we talking about when it comes to Shohei Ohtani? We've seen a $500,000 contract. Can we see a $600 million contract? Buster Olney believes so.
I think it's going to be $600 million plus because there's nobody else in baseball that can do what he can do, that can replicate his production, replicate his marketability. We're going to be talking about him through the trade deadline. We're going to be talking about him going into the offseason and all the way through free agency. Mets, Dodgers, maybe the Yankees, maybe the Mariners, and the Angels trying to keep him. He's going to have enormous bidding for the best player in the world.
So the reason I brought up the hitting and the pitching is because you technically are getting a 2-for-1.
Right.
You're getting an elite level ace and an elite level hitter. I mean, we have never seen anything like that. You know, we say that in the NBA. We talked about Zion Williams. We have not seen something like this for a long time. LeBron, we've never seen anything like this before. No, when we talk about Shohei Ohtani, we have never seen anything like this before. And I'm not going to do the whole, and don't, for the older heads, please don't bring up Babe Ruth because I don't think is anyone alive watch Babe Ruth. So Babe Ruth, I'm not disrespecting Babe Ruth because 100 years from now, 150 years from now, the LeBrons and MJs, whoever's, doing these shows and stuff 100, 150 years from now, they wouldn't have been alive to watch any of these guys either. And they'll have their own opinions and whatever. But where I'm at is, I'm not going to do this whole like, oh, Babe Ruth was this and that. I don't know. Every clip I see of him, he's eating a hot dog, drinking a beer, looking bigger than me. And you want
having
me to
a good time.
Having a good time. You want me to believe that guy is better than what we're watching with some of these players today. But that's besides the point. Shohei Ohtani, sometimes I don't like when we go with these narratives and these things, but Kev, he is literally dominating in all facets. He's one of the best hitters and best pitchers in baseball, and we've never seen it all in one package before. This is insane.
600 M's. Crazy numbers, and he's going to get it, and he's worth it. That's as simple as you can put it, man. I mean, you're doing two jobs and doing them at an all-star level. Pay him. That's as simple as it's going to get. Like, either you want him on your team, give him his money, or he's going to play for somebody else. It's just that simple.
And by somebody else, there's only 4 teams that can afford that. Look out, Cincinnati. Where are you going to go?
So those 4 teams are what? The Dodgers, obviously, Yankees, Mets, Houston. Is that another team that could afford that?
Oh,
well, the Angels, because they're talking about it. So
I think it's the Angels, the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets. I think those are your usual suspects. But the Angels, give me a break. I mean, been there, done that. So last night, the two best players in the world, according to everyone last night, the Angels have had those guys on their team for a few years now, and they have nothing to show for it. So that's why baseball's a weird sport to me.
They sell out. They sell out because those dudes put on the show.
They are a draw.
They put on a show. It's just amazing. You got those two players, and you just can't do anything, man. It's crazy.
All right, last thing here out of the NBA. We talk about, it's interesting when you have player feuds on the floor, rivals against one another. But, it's rare when you find out that, I guess MJ and Scottie Pippen, they've had a falling out. They're not close. I mean, you see Scottie Pippen taking shots at MJ all the time now. But what's interesting is for, more of, like you think the Kevin Garnett and the Ray Allen, they won a championship together.
Yeah.
There was a falling out. Ray Allen left the Celtics. He goes and joins LeBron with the Heat. I'm not sure if that's the only thing that led to their little discord or not, but they have patched things up since then. Here's Kevin Garnett.
If it was one team that we had an issue with, it was Miami. I wasn't looking at like better business decision for Ray. Ray has a chance to get another ring. I didn't take on none of that. I was in my own feelings. So I was super competitive. Anybody know me like that. The passing of Kobe and all of us getting older helped me understand that life is not given to none of us.
Absolutely.
It would have with me if something would have happened to Ray and I didn't get a chance to amend this.
First of all, I think that's really cool because we knew that there was beef there. But then they did the 150-year celebration or the 100-year celebration, 50-year celebration at the All-Star game last
75.
year. 75. I was going to 75, 75, 100, 100, 105, 150. We saw him, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen all embrace or whatever. So we knew they had squashed it. But the reasoning behind it, that was very interesting. That the passing of Kobe Bryant is what kind of said, okay, we got to bygones. We got to put that all behind us.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool reason.
Definitely. I mean, these two guys known each other since they were in 10th grade. They're both from South Carolina. So they've been on the AAU circuit together. They've known each other a very long time. Both of them make it to the NBA and then eventually start playing together and then win themselves an NBA championship. We all know how competitive Kevin Garnett is. I mean, it's written all over his face. Everybody sees, clips of him barking at people from the bench and on the court, on social media and everything like that during his playing career. And for him, and I mean, shoot, I'm sure for a lot of Celtic fans and other teammates, when he joined the Miami Heat, kind of like that rival team, I mean, that would be like Bird joining the Lakers back in the day. Like, wait a minute, hold on, not them, anybody but them. And like, that's the feeling he got. And he harbored those feelings after their playing careers that came to an end. And that was, for me, is where it kind of like crossed the line. Like, all right, man, both of y'all are done. You're not playing no more. Let it go. And I'm glad he eventually let it go. And, we talk about the late, great Kobe Bryant, those are the things that everybody deals with in life. Like someone close to you passes away and you realize like, hey, wait a minute, I need to make sure I'm communicating with this person and showing them, hey, I do care about you, and let bygones be bygones. We have that with friends and definitely have it with family as well.
Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. With 10 freshly marinated, honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits, it's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now, the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-251-2305. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-251-2305 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-251-2305 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-251-2305.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Lowe's MVP's bonus days are back for pros. Right now, buy a DeWalt 20-volt Max Power Stack Battery 2-pack at $199 and get a select DeWalt Bear tool free. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on all Metabo HPT tools and products. Shop even more savings and bonus points offers during MVP's bonus days at Lowe's. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid 3/20 through 3/31. Subject to change. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. Visit Lowes.com/MVP's bonus points for details.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment. Or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
Update your home and get 11% off all countertop at Menards. Menards countertops are durable, dependable, affordable, and easy to install. Transform everyday spaces into gathering places with Menards' great selection of quartz and laminate countertop. Visit our kitchen showrooms in store or go to menards.com to get started on your update today and save 11% on all countertop at Menards. Good through March 26th. Savings are mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Get 50% off tax prep at Jackson Hewitt. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max savings $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
We are back. Kenner and Kev with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We got some stuff coming up around the corner coming up here in hour number 2. How about the Cleveland Browns? They finally made a trade for a wide receiver, Kev. They get Elijah Moore from the Jets.
Jets, Jets.
ESPN's
Ole Miss, right?
ESPN's Adam Schefter says the Jets now are scheduled to have back-to-back second-round picks, number 42 and number 43. The Browns got a third-round pick and Elijah Moore for their number 42 pick, their number 42 pick in the second round. So this is a hell of a deal for the Browns. Like, I have had to be talked off multiple edges. I was a big fan of the idea of going to get DeAndre Hopkins, going for the big splash. But I think what the Browns did is they reloaded that defense, and they got a big-time wide receiver, and they still – they didn't even, so we talked about them restructuring all these contracts. They only had to restructure 2 or 3. They didn't even restructure all the contracts that we were told that they were going to do to go get all these. They revamped that entire defensive line. They bring back Anthony Walker. They go out and they get Juan Thornhill again at safety, a 2-time Super Bowl winning safety. And then you go get Elijah Moore, a speed receiver, to pair with Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, with that offensive line, with Nick Chubb, with David Njoku, Deshaun Watson. If he's that guy that he was that last year in Houston, this is what Cleveland was trying to do. And what Cleveland was trying to do, they could have gone after the big name. They could have gone after, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, got 1 or 2 years out of him, and then had to do a bunch of cap casualties would have to come into play here. That's not the case now. You have Amari Cooper, who's 28 years old. You have Elijah Moore, who's 22 or 23 years old. I mean, he's super young.
Mm-hmm.
DPJ, you just gave him his first extension. So that's your wide receiving core locked up. Is it better than Cincinnati's? No, but to be fair, no one else's is either. So I actually think as the Bengals have to start paying a lot more of their position groups, they're going to get weaker in other areas and be strong at wide receiver, so the Browns can overcompensate there. And that, look, it's going to be an interesting chess match in the AFC North moving forward. The Browns and Bengals are at the top right now. The Steelers, I think, are right there. It really does come down to Kenny Pickett. It really does.
Come on, KP.
Because to be honest, I think the receiving core that you guys have you're one more piece away from that being an elite wide receiving core in football as well. But I think you have a very good young duo, obviously. So they're right there. But if Kenny Pickett is the guy, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, I mean, we never thought when the Ravens were the first team to get the first young quarterback of the bunch. We thought that they were to be smooth sailing by now. Everyone's lapped Baltimore. That's how wild it is, and that's how quick things have unraveled in Baltimore. And it is funny, unraveling in Baltimore still is playoff appearances, finishing atop the division, all that stuff. But I don't think that's going to be the case this coming up year. I think that was a hell of a get for Andrew Berry, a hell of a get for the Cleveland Browns. They're killing it this offseason. I knew Andrew Berry was going to kill it. I don't trust him in the draft. And I think, by the way, the moves they're making, I don't think the Browns trust the draft either, because they could have just done the whole, we'll get a receiver in the draft. that's not they knew their weaknesses. That's why they're like, well, we're not going to trust ours. We're not going to just settle for the draft. Now they're the ones drafting for depth at this point. As wild as that sounds, I know the Bengals fans think they're drafting for depth. I think they have a lot more holes than Cleveland. Cleveland does have holes. They don't have a lot of depth in linebacker. They would like another pass rusher, secondary, because you're only promised 13 to 14 games of my guy Ward. I mean, my goodness. So I think that the draft is all going to be about the defensive side of the ball, but I did think they did a very good job of addressing what they needed to at wide receiver. And then the guys up front. I mean, they have now 3 legitimate pass rushers, arguably top 3 pass rusher in Myles Garrett at this point. So I'm jacked with what the Browns have done this offseason.
I'm going to talk about the Jets and the Browns in a second. I did want to talk about the Ravens since you brought them up.
Yep.
The Ravens and the Jacksonville Jaguars are the only 2 teams in the NFL who've not made a free agent signing. But the difference between the Ravens and the Jags, their free agent signing is called Calvin Ridley. He's coming back to the Jags.
The Jags technically, but it's not a big splash.
Yeah.
But they did add Dearness Johnson on a
okay.
deal.
Okay.
But
so
right, you count that, but you don't. But yeah, like a big splash move to really propel them.
But splash, no splash. They've made no free agent signings outside of people that was on their roster already. So, I mean, I talk about this all the time. How long can we say, oh, man, this team is run well. This team is run well. Do they look like they're run well right now? Does it look like the Patriots are run well right now? Like, we're seeing a turning and a shifting of the guard right now about how teams are, quote unquote, ran. Like, Ozzie Newsom's not running that team no more. That's when they were well run. Right now, not looking like they're so well run. Now, to the Jets, Browns, and then this brings in the Green Bay Packers. First, I think this is a great move for the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. You have Moore, who wanted out halfway through the season. He was unhappy with being New York Jets. He's out of there now. He goes to a place where he can be the number 2 or number 3 receiver and get more targets. He's happy. The Browns, they need a speed receiver. They got a speed receiver for sure, and a very young speed receiver. He's going into his 3rd year out of Ole Miss. I think like you said, he's like 23 years old. Perfect fit for them. And then for the Jets, they get picks. They get picks, and they're probably going to move said picks to Green Bay to get their quarterback. So I think it was a great trade for everybody involved. For 3 teams, that's very rare that you say like all 3 teams should be happy with a trade.
So yeah, in essence, I think this is all going to be a part of a 3-team trade. It just isn't going to go down that way. Second, you and I talked during the commercial break. I'm like, oh, that extra, that basically that draft pick that they ended up getting, they're going to use that to just throw towards Green Bay and make that part of the Aaron Rodgers deal, whatever.
So instead of 2 second rounds, they're probably throwing 3 second rounders
and just say, hey, here you go, whatever.
And that's quality. That's quality, man.
So I'm happy. I don't think the Browns. Anthony Walker today too. I know everyone's going to talk about Elijah Moore, but the Anthony Walker at linebacker, that's a big deal. Getting him back for 1 more year, that's a huge deal because he's a very highly productive guy, and on the cheap, and it's a 1-year deal. And I think he was expecting to kind of get a little bit more out there. The market crashed, right? Like I thought. The big money's always spent the first couple of days,
right?
Have you looked at the running back? We want to talk about the value of running backs right now. I mean, you look at the big names on that free agent list. No one's touching anyone. There was talks of Derrick Henry being available. No one even tried to touch it. That's why at first I was like, oh, the Browns need to just at least dangle Nick Chubb out there. There was no need to. The market's saying, hey, no one values running backs. If you have Nick Chubb, just keep him on your roster and use him. There's no need to get rid of him for barely anything. His value is too much. What he brings to the table has too much value to move on for draft picks. Browns fans got so mad at me for that. It was like I wasn't pushing the Browns need to get rid of him. I was just pointing out that, hey, if you look at all the successful teams right now, the teams that are winning Super Bowls, they're not paying their running backs. The Eagles were very close to winning a Super Bowl. They moved on from their leading rusher in Sanders, who was a top 5 rusher in the league. They moved on from him. He's now in Detroit. So, I mean, at this point, it is what it is. I'm not angry that the Browns kept him. I just said, hey, if you look at how how the cap situation is set up, teams that are winning Super Bowls, they're not paying their running back. That's all. But it'll be interesting.
For me, I think that if you have an elite running back, I think you can get more for that elite running back during the season. Because I think during the offseason is where the whole conversation about running backs is a devalued position. A running back, well, you don't need a running back. But like during the season, that's when you realize, man, we need a running back. Like, who's out there? I mean, we saw with the San Francisco 49ers. They traded for Christian McCaffrey. He was Swiss Army knife, moving them all over the field. They gave a ton for him, and their offense took off when they got him. I don't think the Browns will be trading him halfway through the season, because I think the Browns are going to be in contention to win the division, potentially go to the Super Bowl with the roster they're doing right now. And another thing is, I think to all the young high school athletes out there, learn how to catch, learn how to tackle. Don't be a running back, because your dreams of being rich and famous and a famous, highly paid running back, those days are over, because the new wave is, all right, draft a running back in the first round. Because I think you're going to start seeing teams draft running backs into the first round again, because they're super highly elite talent, but they're not going to get that second contract. At best, you'll get franchise tagged, and then after that season, they're going to let you walk.
Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio. So we'll step away for a few moments. Quick sweep across the AFC North real quick. What does this move mean for the Browns in the AFC North, and how the Browns stack up against, obviously, the defenses in the league and the offensively as well. We talked about what that Elijah Moore trade means for the Browns too, because it also helps the Jets. It gives them an additional draft pick that they can use ultimately to get their quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. Kenner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Here at Roosters, we're not just a fun casual joint. We're a family. No matter who we are serving, our guests or our community, we strive to better the lives of those around us. Whether it's aiding in the battle against cancer, helping to educate the next generation, or simply putting a smile on someone's face, the Roosters Foundation has helped raise over $1 million annually for local charities. Our community has given us so much. This is the least we can do. Roosters, we're a fun casual joint, but so much more.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment, featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through March 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at ColumbusEquipment.com.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video it has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc. Crazy cool showroom.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get 50% off tax prep at Jackson Hewitt. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max savings $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
If you're a sports fan in the Miami Valley, make sure you subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. Buckeyes, Browns, Bengals, local high school sports, Dayton Flyers, Wright State Raiders, and more. Search ESPN Dayton on YouTube and subscribe today.
Hour number 2, Kenner and Cav with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Happy Wednesday. I'm Justin Kenner. He's Kev Nash. The Cleveland Browns just pulled off a trade to finally get that third receiver they were looking for. There was DeAndre Hopkins out there, of course. There was Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, though, the Broncos did want a heavy return, Kev. They wanted a star player and a high draft pick. So not just the second rounder, but they wanted like a guy like Newsome. Newsome is a first rounder and plays, valuable snaps and is pretty solid when he's out there. The Browns weren't going to give that up to get Jerry Jeudy. That just wasn't going to happen. And I think that they found a much more team-friendly deal anyways, getting Elijah Moore for the second-round pick that they have. And the Browns also get a third-round pick in return as well. So this worked out very well. We think back to last year, Andrew Berry. He got Amari Cooper for a fifth rounder. That's the thing. It's very hard. And by the way, the Cowboys they railroaded on that. So that trade also ruins it for the Browns whenever other trades come up. Okay, you can't give up a second round pick. You technically gave up a second round pick to go get Elijah Moore, but you gave up a fifth rounder to go get Amari Cooper. But so it just looks odd. But Andrew Berry has done some solid things. He's very good when it comes to free agent market and is facilitating trades. Not his weaknesses come in the draft. I'm not a big fan of Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns' ability to draft and develop. That's my concern. And I think that that's what the team's telling you too, Kev, because they're saying, hey, and by the way, that is a concern when you pay so much money to your quarterback. Are you a team that can draft and develop to fill holes? I mean,
right.
You look at the team that just won the Super Bowl this year, the Kansas City Chiefs. They moved on from their top wide receiver, of course, in Tyreek Hill, and your best wide receiver is Juju Smith-Schuster. That's not a recipe for success. That doesn't. I mean, you know what I mean? If I would have told you that coming in, that okay, you're going to get rid of Tyreek Hill and have Juju be your number one wide receiver. Oh man, there's no way that they're going to win a Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl because of guys like, the running back and Pacheco and guys like that. They draft well, they develop well, next man up. I worry about that with Cleveland, but I'll worry about that later because right now I think they're stacked on both sides of the ball. I think that they are one of the more well-rounded teams in the NFL, but it really does come down to Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun is who he was in that 6-game finale, that's a concern. I don't think that's who he is. You've said before you think he's still that guy that he was in Houston. He's only 27 years old. But with this roster and with what they added on that defensive side of the ball, if he is that quarterback from what he was in Houston, I mean, it's sky's the limit for Cleveland as far as that's concerned. This could finally be what they've been waiting for. They thought they were close with Baker, not even close. This feels a lot smoother as far as that's concerned.
Who's under more pressure, Deshaun Watson or coach?
I think Deshaun Watson right now because coach didn't sign this guy. Stefanski didn't sign this. I mean, Stefanski, there's going to be pressure on Stefanski, but it sounds like players love playing for him. Front office isn't doubting him at all. I think the front office they've been enabling the excuse making. I mean, every year it's something, right? I do know that. I do know that's what's annoying about Cleveland is every year it's this, every year it's that. Last year was that built-in excuse of, okay, we know we're trading for a hot mess right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're trading for something that's going to be very chaotic and very distracting throughout the year, and it was. But they knew that, okay, we're bringing in, and this is what I kept trying to tell people, can't believe you're bringing in Deshaun Watson. That is going to be a disaster. I said, it's going to be a disaster up front. But you're signing Deshaun Watson to a 5-6-year contract. You're going to deal with 1 year of that mess. You're signing him for the length of the contract. This isn't going to be a mess to the length of the contract. The only way it is if he's not a good quarterback, and we all know he is a good quarterback. So I think this is going to work out just fine. But you add Elijah Moore to Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, Nick Chubb, one of the best offensive lines in football, and a potential top 5 quarterback. There's nothing to really complain about. Browns fans have to feel pretty good about what Andrew Berry was able to pull off this offseason.
I think coach is under a ton of pressure ton of pressure because you're not going to get rid of Deshaun Watson.
It's valid. Good point.
You can get rid of the coach real easy, real
and they
quick.
will. That's what they do.
And find another one very quickly. So they at least, I mean, is making the playoffs the minimum or advancing in the playoffs?
Oh, no, this team has to. I mean, you can't wild card. Right, you have to compete for the division. It's not a failed season if you don't win the division. But I do think that right now, if this all comes down to Deshaun, if Deshaun's who he was that last year in Houston, they're winning this division, in my opinion. The Bengals have an elite quarterback and an elite 1 and 2 receiver. The offensive line is still suspect. I know you added Orlando Brown Jr., but until I see otherwise, it's still the Bengals. It's still the offensive line. The running game is still a question mark, depending on what they do in the draft. And then they are worse defensively than they were a year ago. So because of that, the sum of the parts, the Browns secondary is better. Their safety setup is better. Their pass rushers are better. I think right now, Kev, I mean, Cleveland overall as a whole, I feel better about on paper, but that's not where games are played. And I've been playing on paper for the last 3 years. So don't get mad at me, Bengals fans. I'm acknowledging that, but I think that if the rosters were switched, everyone would be talking about how great the Bengals roster is, blah, blah, blah. I think overall, Bengals offense is super explosive, but I think the Browns offense is more balanced. I think you have a very balanced offense. It's way more balanced than Cincinnati's. And again, it all comes down to Deshaun being who they paid him to be. Because if he's not that guy, Kev, I'm sorry. This is an absolute disgrace and disaster that Cleveland's created. But I don't think they did this. They did their homework. They know who Deshaun Watson is. I think it's fine. I think it's all going to work out just fine. I can see the comments. You know how I know it's fine? Because now all of a sudden everyone has something to say. I can always tell when Cleveland does something good because all of a sudden Bengals fans have a lot of chirping to do, Kev. That's all. That's all.
Bengals fans, how do you feel? How do you feel about the new acquisition to the Browns?
And it's not about the individual acquisition itself. It's what he means to the puzzle of all the pieces put together, right? Like, I know Elijah Moore is not like a name that is going to, you know what I mean? It's not a blockbuster trade by any means, but the Browns have 3 legitimate wide receivers.
Right.
They have 3 legitimate wide receivers. You have a legitimate tight end who could block and catch. You have a legitimate run game. All right. So at the end of the day, and one of the best offensive lines in football and the potential top 5 quarterback in the NFL, they're more balanced across the board. And I think that, that's something that, Pittsburgh, we talked about. They have 2 really good wide receivers. The Jordan Addison thing's interesting. It doesn't sound like that's going to end up happening. It sounds like with what we're going to talk about the pro day in a moment, but they're putting a lot of attention on that on those offensive and defensive linemen.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the Steeler way.
Yeah.
But,
the coach was up there in Columbus today, meeting with a couple offensive linemen of the Buckeyes, DeJuan Jones and Paris Johnson. Come on, be a Steeler. Please be a Steeler, please.
So
both of them. I want them both.
They have Najee Harris. They fine-tune that offensive line. 2 really good wide receivers. Kenny Pickett pans out. You have Freiermuth. They're not that far off either. I think that they're closer to being a more well-balanced offense than the Cincinnati Bengals. They're more explosive. They're the most explosive offense in the AFC North. But I think the Browns and Steelers are very close to being more balanced offense, better balanced offenses as far as the balance between the run and the pass game. But again, it also comes down to the development of Kenny Pickett in the offseason.
So many question marks. I mean, I think the middle of our offensive line is shored up from both guards and the center, but we need you don't need a superstar at left tackle or right tackle, whatever. You just need one good one, and they don't have any good ones on the roster right now. All we need is one good one, and then I will feel a lot better, and then it will truly be all about, all right, Kenny Pickett, what leap are you going to take in year 2? And I love the 2 middle linebackers that we picked up in the free agency pool. So I'm digging that, and then obviously, the Steelers are a little different from other franchises. When they draft a first rounder, he's a starter. Like other teams, hey, man, he's going to be a rotational player, and then he's going to come in and play, or they don't even have any first-round picks at all because they traded him away for whatever player. Whomever they get in the first round, be it a Joey Porter Jr., be it Paris Johnson, be it Broderick Jones from Georgia, they're going to be starting off the rip. We already know it. So whoever it is, hopefully it's Broderick Johnson or Paris Johnson, would prefer one of those. They're going to be a starter. And Kenny Pickett is on you, baby.
You know why I'm mad at the Ravens right now, too? Is because the AFC North would be the best division in football. Like,
bleep them.
You got to think, I don't feel bad about this, but, can you imagine Kev about fell, by the way?
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that didn't just happen.
and not even on the hoverboard.
I've never seen someone fall sitting down before. So that's not drunk, by the way. Maybe I don't know what's in that cup.
It's lit.
Whatever. Can you imagine if Lamar and the Ravens are rolling? You have Joe Burrow and the Bengals have been to back-to-back AFC Championship games, the Super Bowl, so close to getting back to one. The Steelers, they're retooling and getting right back where they were. The Browns just retooled everything this offseason. The AFC North, we're used to it being one of the best divisions in football, but this is the deepest it's ever been. Even if the Ravens are at the bottom, Kev, the Steelers, Browns, and Bengals, this is the deepest the division has been in quite some time. So it's going to be very interesting. I hate that it's only March. I hate that we have to wait for April, May, June, July. I mean, I guess August 3rd is the Hall of Fame game between the Jets and the Browns, by the way. So,
you going?
Oh, we're going. We're going to be doing the show from Canton, trying to talk it into existence. Big Aaron Rodgers.
You know anybody up there?
Big Aaron Rodgers.
Go ahead and watch the backups play.
So Brian Heil says, 2 things. Did Kenner just call Moore a star? 6 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Me and Kev talked about this in the middle of the commercial break. I said, well, this is a good move, right? Like Elijah Moore is a big name. His numbers don't pop off the page. As you talked about, he kind of was sitting out a lot. He was kind of demanding a trade. He wasn't happy with his status with the offense and stuff, that type of stuff too. But again, his role as being the speedster as well. And he was putting up very good numbers. I mean, you talked about he started 6 games and had 5 touchdowns in those 6 games. So yes, the guy can produce when he's out on the field, and he had to be one of the guys there. He didn't have to be the guy in Cleveland. Like Donovan Peoples-Jones is the number 2. If Elijah Moore's your number 3, the Cleveland Browns are in a very good situation as far as that's concerned. But star, Brian, I'll give you. If I called him a star, that's on me. I don't think he's a star, but I think the expectation is to come in and be a star and to round out this wide receiving core. So we'll see what happens as far as that's concerned. Ron Howard, he chimes in,
What up, Ron?
Words of wisdom from Mr. Baker Mayfield fan over here. Big Bucks fan is Ron Howard from the Tampa area. Ron says, Browns can do what they want, but until further notice, they're still the Browns.
Browns is the Browns.
That's a Schlemmerism from back in the day. A lot of people pulled those Schlemmerisms. And still use them until further notice. Still the Browns. But actually, he combined the Browns is the Browns. He combined it. But combined it? Ooh. Combined it.
Sound like me.
Ryan Holzapple. The Browns are getting Elijah Moore from the Jets. That's huge. Ryan, I like you, but I can't tell if you're being a smartass or not. I can't tell. I really can't tell.
You on the defensive?
You know me. People could say hi. I'm like, who's high? Well, I'm not high. You're high. What? No, I'm just saying hi. Oh, hi. How are you? Always on the defensive on social media. Always. Matthew Slocum, nice move by the Browns. Moore is better than anyone they might get with that second-round pick. Looks solid. That's one thing that I mentioned a little bit ago is some teams need to understand their weaknesses. I think the Browns are admitting we're not very good at drafting wide receivers. David Bell is about as good a wide receiver as he is the manager of the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, it's the equivalent, right? So to me, I don't know why I said that. It was just for the joke. It was just for the shock and awe.
Next week.
I met Buddy Bell.
Next Thursday.
I met Buddy Bell at the he was inducted into the Circle of Champions for the OHSAA. So I don't think he'll appreciate that little joke. But come on, you can see how that tied in. It tied in. Comedy. I mean, come on. Just throwing it out there. Where was I going with this? Yes.
What are they going to sit us for opening day as you keep making these jokes?
Probably on the outside. Opening day, baby. Shout out to, the Cincinnati Reds for inviting Kevin and I out to opening day. First guest, David Bell. Maybe. Coaches love me.
What about ownership?
Oh, I love the Castellinis. No BS today, Kenner. Yes,
that
sir.
was so awesome. That was awesome.
I wouldn't even like, did that rattle you? No, actually, it was kind of a compliment. Like you
listen?
Yeah, I thought I had a safe haven over here. I thought nobody listened. So nonetheless, I'm all over. This is an ADD. This feels like a Friday type show. I'm just real happy that the Browns finally rounded out. I don't think they're going to make any of the moves the rest of the way. But as I was mentioning, knowing your weaknesses, knowing you can't draft wide receivers real well, think this was smart. Yes, they could have drafted a wide receiver at number 2. There's a chance, who knows? Jackson Smith and Jigba drops in the second. Maybe there's that Addison kid that's there. Who knows? But with the Browns, I don't trust them drafting anybody. So the fact that you go get a proven wide receiver in the league who's still young, 2 years on a rookie deal as well, you would have had to pay right away. You would have to pay for Jerry Jeudy. You would have to pay a lot for, of course, DeAndre Hopkins. The Browns still have that flexibility to be able to keep this thing going. They have their core for at least the next 2 or 3 years. So there's that. Doug Toby says number one. Oh, he's ranking his quarterbacks out of no, for no reason. Just throwing the rankings out. He says number 1, Mahomes, 2, Burrow, 3, Allen, 4, Rodgers, 5, Hurts, 6, Herbert, 7, Jackson, 8, Prescott, maybe 9th, Watson. So he stopped. He didn't even go to 10 because he just needed to get in there. That, hey, I have your boy. We kind of move back a little bit. Not today. Damon Hahn.
It's list season already. Thought we determined list season wasn't until June.
Yeah, we're saving that. He goes, Damon Hahn says, would you be happy as Elijah Moore with Zach Wilson throwing you the ball? No.
Nope.
So there's that. Kenner and Kev, 1410 ESPN. Okay, so when we come back, Jeff Goodman today with the Field of 68 podcast. He covers college basketball. He used to cover the NBA back in the day for ESPN. But he tweeted out that, according to his sources, that Anthony Grant has no intentions of retiring. That his goal is to get the program back into the NCAA tournament. And that's the goal of the program, of course. But he hopes to get them back, making a run with a healthy team. There's that word health again. We keep using health as an excuse. But regardless, a couple of key players have entered the transfer portal for the Dayton Flyers. I want to say it's not a big deal, and it's not a big deal because everyone enters the portal. Right. But there's one name that entered the portal that I think is kind of a big deal. That was kind of a key contributor. But how different can the Flyers look next season? We know Anthony Grant's coming back. Still worried about some of the other names. That De'Ron Holmes and Kamara. Kamara is most likely done. We're waiting for Holmes to declare for the NBA draft. Is there a chance De'Ron Holmes could come back? We'll talk about all that on the other side. Kenner and Cav, 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast: rain, breezy conditions, 50 tonight. Showers and breezy and 68 Thursday. More rain and 51 on Friday. I'm Rick Schrempf for 1410 ESPN Radio.
This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports. You spend valuable time thinking about which bets to place each week. So why wouldn't you want the best company in the business to be the one who handles those bets? Superbook Sports is the most trusted name in Las Vegas, and it's live right here in Ohio for all your sports wagering needs. Superbook has a team of dedicated odds makers behind the counter in Las Vegas, setting all their prices. We're talking about guys with decades of experience showing you why Superbook has the best odds around. And right now, you can look ahead to the hockey and hoops postseason and place a bet on who you think will take home the title. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. That's 1-800-589-9966. This is Keith Byers for Superbook Sports.
If you have an IRA or 401k, please listen closely. My name is Jason Hansen. I'm a former CIA officer and New York Times bestselling author. Throughout my career, let's just say I've been in some hairy situations. And I believe right now the biggest threat facing Americans is they need to protect their wealth, which is exactly what I'm doing for my wife and 6 kids. And I believe the ultimate safe haven is physical gold and silver. You can protect your hard-earned retirement assets with a tax-free loophole that allows you to convert your retirement into physical gold and silver. The folks I use are Advantage Gold, and believe me, I've investigated the heck out of all types of people. Advantage Gold is the nation's highest rated gold company. They have the best process, pricing, and service. If you want to get your free gold and silver investment kit, please contact Advantage Gold right now, and you'll see how easy it is to protect yourself with precious metals. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Call 800-900-8000.
College basketball frickin' heats up this year like never before. Frickers brings back a fan favorite, frickin' street tacos that add to the drama that the tournament provides. Frickin' chicken tacos, charbroiled chicken tacos, and Mississippi barbecue taco. Frickers also scores with a 48-ounce personal pitcher of ice-cold domestic draft beer for only $6.50 all the games. Frickin' street tacos, $6.50 personal pitchers, nowhere else but the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Spring is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including all the March basketball tournament parties. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wines, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel and gift cards. You can call, walk in, or drive through. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
United Rentals Spring Equipment Blowout is happening Thursday, March 23rd from 7 to 5. Skid steers, mini excavators, boom lifts, scissor lifts, forklifts, concrete tools, and more. Stop by United Rentals Spring Equipment Sale, March 23rd on Executive Boulevard in Huber Heights. And let's make a deal.
I'm Faith Daniels, and we have the pleasure to chat with Blake Maislin, Mr. 444-4444. When accidents happen, who do we call?
Well, you call me. You call 444-4444, and you let us get started immediately.
That means a dog bite, a slip and fall, a car accident. Blake Maislin is the call to make.
That's exactly right. We'll come to your house. We'll go to the hospital room. But whatever we can do to help, that's exactly what we do starting on day one.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Blake Maislin, 444-4444,
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
Want to make tonight's dinner a perfect 10? Swing by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and pick up a 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. With 10 freshly marinated, honey-dipped premium tenderloins, 3 dipping sauces, 2 of our irresistible large sides, and 5 fluffy biscuits, it's family time made from scratch. Take home a top-notch dinner the whole family will love from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken with our 10-piece strips meal for only $24.99. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Breaking news. Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Honey, come here, quick.
What is it?
Shh, check it out. All these highly rated wines are under $20. Total Wine must have made a mistake.
Nope, they always have the lowest prices. Oh, remember that amazing rosé your sister brought over last week? See, it's right here.
Whoa, that's a low price. Whoa, that's a low price.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Hang out with College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers every Monday at noon on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Kenner and Cav here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So the Dayton Flyers season ended a few weeks ago, of course, in the A-10 championship game against VCU. Now, Dayton's a hard team for me to figure out how to analyze because the fact that, that they've been banged up. They were banged up throughout the season. It impacted their ability to really get in any kind of a flow, to remain in the top 25, and to really put together a credible non-conference resume that was going to be worthy of putting them in the tournament as an at-large team. There are a lot of reasons why this season was more difficult than it was supposed to be. And injuries at times do play a major role in the team's ability to have success or not. But I also don't think that role players being banged up should be a reason that you hang your hat on that as being why you didn't accomplish the goals that you looked to accomplish. I get why the team wasn't a top 25 team because they were banged up throughout the year, but there's no excuse after the A-10 was as bad as what it was that this team was not representing the A-10 in the NCAA tournament. They're the only team in the A-10 that started 2 NBA players. You're talking about Malachi Smith being out. He played the entire A-10 schedule. What are we doing here? You're good enough to win 20 games. All right, you're good enough to win 20 games. You're good enough to be right there at the top of the A10. You're good enough to get to the A10 championship game, but because you couldn't knock down threes in the second half of a game, now, man, the injuries, that just really got us. Can't be that. So the reason I say this is I'm not hating, so let's just get that out of the way right now. Because for the first time in a long time, I actually have a lot of Flyer fans that are not mad at me. They're actually saying a lot of the things I'm saying, which makes me feel a little bit more comfortable going on this little rant that I'm about to go on. Now, this is not me criticizing the program as far as I'm concerned. Freshman, Dayton Fordham, RJ Blakeney, not freshman, but Dayton's RJ Blakeney has entered the transfer portal. Okay. We knew there was going to be some names that were going to be entering the portal. We knew there were going to be a handful of names that were going to be leaving after this past season. Mustafa Amzil is another name that was announced yesterday evening that was going to be entering the transfer portal. That was first of all, that was a huge get for Anthony Grant years ago. I mean, his story of how he got over here and everything, and how he actually, just showing up. It was not on the scouting report, nothing. He just showed up and dropped, had a huge game right off the bat. His story was a pretty good one. He hit the game winner against Kansas in the Maui Invitational a few years ago. It was, he had a lot of big moments. But the one thing, so with these names leaving, it's not that they're leaving that I'm saying, oh, there's a problem with the program. It's them leaving and what's left for next year. Because it's only a matter of time before both Tumani Kamara and Deron Holmes declare for the NBA draft. And I think there's a good chance that both of them end up going because they're getting high draft grades, or they're getting, at one point, we were getting a first-round grade for Deron Holmes. I'm not really sure. That lost a little momentum because he had some up and down games throughout the year. But again, with the draft, especially if you're getting a late first round, second round draft grade, you're a prospect anyway. If you're getting drafted in the second round, Kev, more times than not, you're a project. If Deron Holmes looks at the roster that Anthony Grant has right now, this isn't a roster that I think he would feel good about coming back for next year, and could just say, I'm going to take my chances in the draft and go. Dayton, they're in the NIL business, but I'm not really sure how big of an NIL business they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if, like we saw with North Carolina, they were able to bring their entire roster back that made it to the Final Four when they lost to Duke or whatever. Or when they beat the national championship game, they beat Duke in the Final Four. Like, they have major NIL money that was enough to keep a whole roster to stay. Right. I don't know what kind of money. I know there's NIL money. I have no insight as far as what NIL money looks like at Dayton. And is it enough to dangle in front of a guy that can go make millions in the NBA? I don't think they can compete with that. That's what I'm kind of curious about. Deron Holmes could have the whole thing of, okay, well, I can come back and maybe improve my draft positioning. But can he do that on a roster that is this banged up? I think a lot of the times the inconsistencies of Deron Holmes this year basically stemmed from him just having to do way too much, especially as being the big guy in the middle. And not having really good guards around him to just for simple entry passes, and not really having any big time shooters to kick it out to allow him to be comfortable in space. He had to force a lot. So his tape looked a little worse than what it should be. His numbers are up and down because if he wasn't scoring inside and Kamara wasn't scoring, then there was no offense whatsoever. I do believe the inconsistent offense hurt him at times. And I think that's something that he has to be concerned about as well. He still has a draft grade. You don't want to ruin that even worse. So you lose Amzil, you lose Blakeney, you could potentially lose others. Anthony Grant, and this comes from Jeff Goodman. He tweeted out earlier today, Kev, Dayton's Anthony Grant has no plans to retire and will be back coaching next season. First of all, great. I don't dislike Anthony Grant. I don't think he's an elite coach. I think he's a very good coach. All right? I don't think you win as many games as he has if you're a bad coach. I don't think you win National Coach of the Year if you're a bad coach. He does have one of those babies in his trophy case, right? Like he's a very good coach. I don't think he's an elite coach. I think results speak for himself. A little above 500 career-wise. Like he takes teams to the tournament every once in a while. He's not known for deep tournament runs. He's known for bringing in great players, all this stuff. But what that sounds a lot like to me is he's known for underachieving a lot, especially at Dayton when you have all the money, all the resources. You bring in all the talent in the world. Only team in the A-10 that's starting 2 future NBA players. And you couldn't win a one-bid league A-10. Oh, but the injury. So here's the rest of the tweet that I had a problem with. He goes on to say that a source close to the situation told Stadium that Dayton's Anthony Grant has no plans to retire and will be back coaching next season. Grant's plan, okay, this is his plan. Anthony Grant's plan is to get the Flyers back to the NCAA tournament. Super, but there's more with a healthy group. Kev, I'm tired of hearing about the health of this group. Tumani Kamara and Deron Holmes played in every game. You had Malachi Smith for pretty much the entire A-10 regular season schedule. All right, you had role players banged up that missed some time here and there. I think really what it came down to is this roster just was not as good as what they had anticipated it being. I know they couldn't get in any kind of rhythm to retain that top 25 status. That's super. But you dominated the A-10. You were right there at the top of the A-10. You got to the A-10 championship game. You can't win 20-plus games, get to the A-10 championship game, dominate in the A-10, and then because you didn't shoot the ball well in the second half that you led by double digits in the first half, you let a big lead slip away, which they did all year. You can't tell me that, well, remember those injuries we had back in November? That's why we couldn't shoot the ball in the second half against VCU to clinch our ticket to the NCAA tournament. Like, we got to stop with the excuses. I watched Archie Miller go on deep tournament runs with walk-on players, and Anthony Grant has 2 NBA players in his starting lineup every single game, and they can't get to the NCAA tournament. And then they turned down the NIT bid, which also irritated me, but that's not really a big part of this conversation. I'll say this, because everyone has an opinion on Anthony Grant coming back next year. I will never call for someone's job. Anthony Grant, I do not want fired. I do not want to see him lose his job. I do not even close. I'll never call for someone's job. But what I will call for is not trying to test the intelligence of your fan base, acting as if that this program is living up to the standard of what they told us the standard was. I'm only saying all of this is because if that tweet from Jeff Goodman, if it wouldn't have ended with getting a team back to the tournament that's healthy, if it wouldn't have included the word health, Kev, I wouldn't even have talked about it today. But I think Dayton is good at a lot of things. They're the best at this. They're the best at PR. They are the best at controlling the narrative with the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
They are leaning in to the injury thing. They know that injuries kind of derailed the start to the season, but the injuries aren't why they didn't get to the NCAA tournament. That's why they're not a top 25 team, but that's not why they didn't get to the NCAA tournament. But they're leaning into the injury excuse, and that little line right there at the end just proves it because you could tell the fans that didn't really follow the team all year, they keep leaning into the injury thing. But then when you say, okay, well, who was out for all of A-10 play? Who was out in the tournament that really they couldn't overcome? Because you had your 2 NBA players. Can you name another team in the A-10 that had 2 NBA players? You can't. So that's why I get frustrated. Stop using the injuries as an excuse. It's the same thing they used when, we're too banged up to play in the NIT. No, you're not. You weren't too injured to play in the NIT. Your team wasn't too injured to get to the NCAA tournament this year. You know why? You've been here 6 years. Technically, you've been to the tournament once. The sample size says this is the norm, not getting to the NCAA tournament. Just don't question the intelligence of the fan base. They're losing patience on social media. And the reason I know is because I don't have people. I have one guy who's just exploding on me on Facebook right now, but everyone that usually gets mad at me for my UD takes, they're actually agreeing with me, which that's how I know things are getting a little unraveled over there, the old UD arena.
For me, I look at the 2 guys entering the portal, and then you got definitely one that's going to be gone and one that's going to test the waters. And for me, you lose your 3rd leading scorer because he's hitting the portal. What are you getting in the portal? Because you got dudes leaving the portal and you got dudes leaving to go pro. What are you getting? What type of talent are you getting back to return?
Yep.
Because we can talk about the returning players to the roster. If those players weren't good enough to get you to the tournament and you're going to be losing your best 2 guys or best 3 guys, what other guys are you going to get? So you need to be scouring the portal. And I know Coach AG has a ton of connections. There's no doubt in my mind. He's one of the best recruiters out there. So he'll find the talent. Once you get that talent, are you going to be able to make it gel? And that's the other part that I don't know about Holmes. Is he going to fully commit to going to the NBA draft, or is he just going to submit his name to the draft and keep eligibility, things of that nature? So a lot of question marks are still out there about him as well. But coach is going to have to hit the portal and get an influx of talent, because even if Holmes does come back, if he's strictly the one-man show in the paint, or it's just 2 guys running the show in the paint for next year, like they did this year, you're going to need consistent outside shooting so he can operate in the post without double teams all the time. I mean, shoot, the last 3 games, he played 40 minutes. I know he's young. He's like 20, 21 years old. These dudes love to play basketball. They don't ever want to come out the game. And that's why it's up to coach to get him a second to breathe, then go back in there and do your thing. But like you said, those last couple games, he was an animal down there. He was doing his thing. There's no doubt about what he was doing. He was doing his part. He needs help, and that help comes from outside shooting. And when they hit their shots, everything runs smoothly. But when they don't, it bogs down the offense, and it gets crowded down there for him, and he's not able to do his damage. So consistent outside 3-point shooting can help this team a ton, and that can be found in the portal.
And keep in mind, too, for those out there that think, Duran will be fine. They'll put weapons. You realize athletes have all the leverage now. Duran doesn't have to sit back and say, well, I'm going to let AG I'm going to trust him to put weapons around me. These guys dictate who they go play with. Like it used to be, oh man, they have to rely on the coaches to put the talent around them. Not anymore. He can enter the portal and say, all right, declare for the draft. They give him a draft grade. Okay, I feel like I played one more year of college ball and work on X, Y, and Z. And by the way, Obi Toppin will always be the poster child of why that was such a successful change that they made. He went to the, he declared for the draft. He got a grade. They told him to work on three, to work on this, that. And then he became one of the, a top 3-point shooter. I mean, he was a very good 3-point shooter. And he was, obviously player of the year the very next year. That is a great thing for college basketball. But he could declare for the draft, get that draft grade, tell him what he needs to work on, and say, I don't know. There's really not a whole lot on this roster that I think can allow me to work on these things, because he couldn't really work on anything other than it wasn't a tradition. It was a horrible offense. It was boring offense. Now, to AG's credit, and for everyone out there that thinks I'm a hater, Kev, who did I say should have won A-10 Coach of the Year?
Coach.
I said Coach Grant. I don't hate Coach Grant. I thought what Coach Grant did was an amazing job because he was able to overcome a lot of the injuries at the beginning of the season. He was able to overcome some of those disruptions in the middle of the season. We know the horrendous thing that happened before the season started. They've overcome a lot of these things. I'm not a heartless person. I'm not piling on here. All right. Well, he was my Coach of the Year. And I say out of the A-10 because I thought what he did was more impressive than any other coach in the A-10. Because of, they didn't live up to expectations because injuries derailed some things early, but at the same time, they overcame that and they won 20-plus games. They were competing for an A-10 regular season title. They got to the A-10 championship. They had the lead at halftime. Injuries and anything that happened before the season had nothing to do with that second half collapse. That second half collapse we've seen for many, many seasons in many, many different styles of games and many, many different levels, whether it's the A-10 tournament, whether it's big regular season games, whether it's against non-big regular season games. We've seen them lose to the LaSalles and the worst teams in the A-10 before. They're just not mentally tough when they get in these matchups at times. That's coaching. That's not injuries. That's not this. That's not that. So it's about accountability. I praise when I feel like I want to praise something, and I also poke at what I think I'm going to be critical at. And some people like it, some people don't. But bottom line is, AG's him coming back is a good thing. He says his goal is to get them back to the tournament. I hope so. Because this March, as great as the ratings have been and as great as the attendance has been at these tournament games, Kev, it sucks. Because there's no UD, there's no Ohio State, Wright State didn't make it. Xavier, they're making their run, but we hate Xavier over here. So the bottom line is I don't hate Dayton. I don't hate Anthony Grant. I don't even hate the fans. Actually, I like the fans. I get along with a lot of the UD fans now. That's something that's
what about
that's
you
changed.
And Mikey?
Mikey and I, he said him and I are on the same page now. Remember I told you, though, that's how things are getting kind of bad over there. When the guys that just hated any opinion I had on UD years ago, they're like, oh, I'm kind of seeing what you're talking about now. This isn't me waving the I told you so flag. It's just, I told you so. No. But anyways, we're good. I'm glad he's coming back. I do think he's a good coach. The talent he brings in, it's unbelievable. I just wish that the results on the floor match the talent that he's bringing in, because that arena is beautiful. The resources they have is amazing. There's no way you bring talent into this city and into that arena. How talent leaves and is not like, oh, I'm 100% committed here. I don't get it. Now you talked about, okay, it's important for them to hit the portal and bring talent in. And people are like, well, he'll bring talent in. Yeah, but you guys told me this years ago. They brought in Elijah Weaver and they brought in Tumani Kamara. These guys have worked. Elijah Weaver wasn't terrible. I don't think he lived up to what we expected him to be. Tumani Kamara, potential NBA prospect right there. He had a great year. You bring in Deron Holmes. The question, like when people say, well, he has to bring in talent, he'll bring in talent. He always has. But there's always like a ceiling with the talent. And that's what's weird to me. And I don't mean ceiling as individually. I mean ceiling as a whole, as a collective. That's the concern I have. So that's why I get into it with fans on social media. Oh, he'll bring talent in. Of course he does. Will. He always has. He brought in, this roster is made up of the talent he brought in. Amzo was a talent. All these guys talented. It's not about the talent. It's not like, oh man, he didn't bring in good. He brought in really good guys. That's why there's expectations. That's why when those expectations are met, that's why I'm sitting here rambling and just going on and on and on instead of just hitting the music to end the segment to move on to something else. So there you go. But Ron Howard said, I heard AG is not a fan of yours. Well, find me a list of people who are a fan of mine, Ron, and that'll be a more entertaining list as far as I'm concerned. But nonetheless, all right. Kenner and Cav right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We'll step away for a few moments. Thoughts, questions, concerns, 518-1410. Give us a call. Gordon on Facebook, he goes, they didn't make the tournament because they shoot like doo-doo.
He's outside shooting, man. consistent outside shooting. I mean, we talked about some of the guys that entered the transfer portal already. Jameer Nelson Jr.'s out there. According to this, he shot it at a 40% clip from 3. That'd be nice.
There's talent in the portal, and AG can do it. I like AG. I'm not like people think I'm piling on. I'm just being very passionate in this little take right here, but it's because I know they could do it. If I didn't think they could do it, then none of this would even matter.
And now you have competition, and you always have competition in the portal, but now you have Rick Pitino going back to the Big East with St. John's. So 9 times out of 10, he's gonna get the pick of the litter.
He's gonna whoever he wants. I mean, he said it. He didn't go in saying, "Oh, we got a year or 2 to rebuild." He goes, "I'm gonna rebuild this in months." So there we are. Kenner and Cap 1410 ESPN Radio. I'll see some calls coming in now. We'll get you guys on hold and we'll get to you right away. Let's see in the comment section. John Sladen says that second half was an exhibition on how not to shoot. That was ugly. Donna, she goes, I am a fan, Justin Kenner. Well, thank you, Donna. I appreciate it. Donna, by the way, I still have from Deron Holmes. I have one of the Deron Holmes shirts for our friend Donna over here. So, Donna, I'll be in touch. Kenner and Cap 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey, everyone. Kenner and Kev with you here on behalf of Twin Peaks. We're enjoying the tournament just like all of you. The star players, the upsets, the buzzer beaters. It's all great and all, but what makes it even better, it's where we're watching the games, right, Kev?
That's right, Kenner. Twin Peaks here in Beaver Creek is where we're taking in all the action. The games have been great, but their made-from-scratch menu items, along with their wide range of drink selections, makes Twin Peaks the best spot in the Miami Valley to watch all the tournament games.
That's right. We look forward to seeing all of you taking in the tournament at Twin Peaks in Beaver Creek.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Ohio Roads and Bridges connect us to things we need and enjoy. It takes a lot of hard work and money to keep roads in good shape. Today, most of that money comes from Ohio's gas tax. As Ohioans drive more fuel-efficient and electric vehicles, people are buying less gas. That's great for our environment, but it means less money for road and bridge maintenance. Ohio is conducting a study to find a new and more sustainable way to fund the maintenance of our roads and bridges. To learn more and to provide input, visit ohioroadfunding.com.
Sponsored by the Ohio Department of Transportation and aired in cooperation with the Ohio Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The all-new Chevrolet of Troy is now open. What are the advantages of shopping at Chevrolet of Troy? Selection has never been better. With over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available, we always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority. We care about you. With thousands off MSRP, a full-service state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection. Make Chevrolet of Troy your first stop today. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-885-3100. 800-885-3100. 800-885-3100.
Calling all HVAC service technicians. Have you chosen to forgo health insurance because the premiums are too high with your current employer? Did you know that REAK covers 100% of your health insurance for you and your family? Not only that, we also offer a great pension plan and generous signing bonus. Contact REAK Services today. We're hiring dedicated, talented technicians who are looking for a long-term career in the HVAC service industry. Apply today at reekservices.com. That's RIECK services.com.
Get 50% off tax prep at Jackson Hewitt. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max savings $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel is where you can watch Dayton's only local sports talk show. Hang out with Kinner and Kev weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. We highly suggest, if you haven't done so, that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel to watch and follow along every day. Quick recap here. Back to the phones we go. Jeff Goodman with the Pot 68 podcast that he has, does a great job. Again, used to be with ESPN, covers all things college basketball. He had tweeted out earlier today that sources had told Stadium that Anthony Grant has no plans of retiring and coming back next season. And, of course, that led to, well, social media doing its thing and having a lot of opinions about Anthony Grant coming back. I've told this to Kevin, told this to many people. I'm never going to call for a coach to be fired, especially if it's like, if we're talking like stuff like a lot of controversy and stuff like that. Okay, that's different. But we're just talking about, a coach isn't winning enough. We might say, hey, he's not winning at a level that's going to get it done at that school. That's different. And that's what some people are saying in this situation. I'm not. The guy wins a lot of basketball games. He's just not winning the ones that count. And, I think after a certain period of time, after being here 6 years, eventually it's like, oh my gosh, like we keep being told the same thing every year. Yeah, well, this year it's because this happened. Well, yeah, but if this would have happened, things would have been different. Yeah, but I mean, can you believe it? We were told that we were this close to being considered an at-large team, that we were the literally just on the outside of being selected as an at-large last year. This year it's the injuries. And we say all that. Bottom line is AG's coming back another year. It sounds like, according to this tweet from Jeff Goodman, of course. But Grant's plan is to get the Flyers back to the NCAA tournament with a healthy group. The healthy group thing is the one that triggered me, because I'm like, got to stop using that as an excuse for what went wrong this season. A lot of things went wrong this season. We got to stop with the injury thing. You had your two NBA players playing every single game. Malachi played in pretty much the entire A-10 regular season schedule. They almost won the A-10. They got to the A-10 championship. They led at halftime. They just didn't shoot well in the second half. That has nothing to do with injuries. We got to stop with that. So that's just my takeaway, if you will. We watched Archie Miller go on deep NCAA tournament runs with walk-ons. And now I'm supposed to believe that, injuries from November kept a team from holding a lead at halftime of an A-10 championship game in February and March. I can't get on board with that. But 518-1410, Kev, who we got?
We got Mark, line one.
What up, Mark? How are you? Thanks for holding.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So really, I'm an UD alum. I'm a student. I am tired of the Anthony Grant experience. It's just he's not going to win at any sort of level that the program deserves. He's going to win just enough games not to quote unquote get fired. That's his track record. He's a mediocre coach. He cannot make in-game adjustments. Can't let teams go on 10-0 runs without timeouts, et cetera, and they can't win in close games. Look at his, I don't know his exact record, but I bet if we went and looked, his close games, games decided by 5 points or less, he doesn't win them.
I think it's like he's close to a 500 coach in those 5 points or less, few possession games and stuff. And yes, that seems to be the biggest frustration is late game execution. And also just the amount of losses to bad teams has piled up over the years. And just really, at the end of the day, you lose a couple games you shouldn't, so be it. But it's really, to me, it's 6 years, and we've yet to see him pace the floor, coach on the floor of an NCAA tournament branded floor. I know that 2020 season was magical, and yes, that was a tournament bid year. So but the thing is, Mark, 1 in 6 years still isn't good enough. So I do understand the fans' frustration as far as that's concerned. I don't think he's horrible. I don't think he's horrible. That's where I'm like conflicted on this. It's like I don't like piling on, but at the same time, I do think fans need to speak their mind and say, hey, this is not acceptable. We hold this program to a higher standard. Xavier's in the Sweet 16 right now. Like all these programs are doing more that Dayton should be up there doing just as much with, and they're just not.
Yeah. And if you compare, and I've looked back, Oliver Purnell came in his 6th year, they made the NCAA tournament. He took over a team that was had 7 wins the year before, 6 wins the year before.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to do it in 6 years. Archie left us with 4 in 6 years. He took over really a team that was at our height and hasn't been able to get them there, with 2020 being an asterisk.
So at the end of the day, there are worse coaches to have. And AG is a very, very good coach, and he's going to bring in good players in the portal. And you know what? That's at least a start. At least get the players in and get that excitement and expectation back up. But next year, I really wonder what we're going to be talking about a year from now. I really hope we're talking about Dayton in the tournament, Dayton in the Sweet 16. I'm really hoping that tomorrow's the tournament, Sweet 16, tipping off tomorrow. I hope a year from now, Mark, when you're calling in, that we're talking about your thoughts on tomorrow's matchup in the Sweet 16 and not about what coaching hire they're going to make. So we'll see what happens.
I also wish that, and I appreciate it.
Mark, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, 518-1410, your thoughts on that call?
Yeah, man. Fans have the right to express how they feel. If the team isn't winning up to snuff, and nobody knows that better than Coach. Coach knows that. I bring it up all the time with Coach Jarvis. Our interview with him, he said it plain and simple, man. Like, you can talk about graduation rates. We could talk about, creating great young men to be great people in society and everything like that. But at the end of the day, a basketball coach has to win games, or whatever coach has to win games. And that's the reality of it. And I know Coach knows that.
518-1410, 518-1410. If you want to call in and jump in on the conversation, you can. I don't want this to turn into we got to get AG out of here. That's not the goal of this whole conversation. I think at the end of the day, what I'm saying is I can say, hey, this program needs to get their head out of their you-know-whats, and the results need to start being there, and that not be, Kinner's calling for the coach's head. That's what I don't like about sports media, is if you're critical of a program, that automatically means you're calling for the coach's head. That's not what's happening here. I understand, though, the fans' frustration with coaching, because that's what we do. When our teams aren't winning, what do we do? We saw it with Ohio State. Chris Holtman's taken his team to the NCAA tournament every year except this year. He's been here for quite a few years. This is the first time Ohio State has not been in the NCAA tournament since Chris Holtman took over. Everyone wanted him out of here. Top recruiting class after top recruiting class, or top 5 recruiting classes back-to-back years, tournament every single year. And oh my gosh, his first bad year since being here, Buckeye fans want Chris Holtman gone. That's the nature of the business. Okay? Yeah. That's the nature of the business. And AG is just facing the nature of the business. But, it's a crucial year next year to win and to get to the tournament. And it's not even about the regular season anymore. It's literally dance in March. First 4, final 4, it don't matter. Be dancing in March.
And that's what it's all about. That's what college basketball has become. It's, you could have a great regular season, but if you're bounced early in the tournament, think about Virginia. Like, they had a good regular season. They got bounced in the first round. Purdue, they won the Big Ten regular season and tournament, and they lost in the first round. You think their fan base is super happy right now? No. So it is about the regular season, but it's more about, hey, get to the tournament and let's see what we can do. And unfortunately, that's where it is right now with college basketball. It's really only about the tournament.
Here's something to keep in mind. This is Alan Hubler on Facebook. Very interesting comment. So he's responding. This is under the Anthony Grant thread on my Facebook page. He was responding to a guy named Jeffrey Thompson. Jeffrey Thompson says fire AG. I'm not saying that. He says fire AG. So this is in response to this. This is Alan Hubler on Facebook. It's just a listener of the show comment in the comment section. He goes, there's always people who think that UD is an insane power. In the last 40 years, Jim O'Brien won 1 tournament game. Oliver Purnell, 0. Brian Gregory, 1 win. Archie Miller had the 5 tournament wins in those 2 seasons, those 2 tournament runs, of course. Anthony Grant is technically a UD level coach. Your thoughts? That's not an insult. Don't get mad at that. It's actually like, I actually had to read that and I'm like, it sounds like it's an insult, but it's not. The point is, when you look at the history of the program, it's not like that 20 season counts, and they would have won a tournament game too. Some believe that's a national championship caliber team. I mean, who am I to say differently? As a 1 seed, they're going to be a 1 seed. They had the best player in the country, and they had the best coach in the country. He was AP Coach of the Year. So that 1 tournament appearance is what I'm going to give them in 6 years. That's still technically on pace for what the history of the program has told us that they tolerate. So,
well, just because that's the history, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's okay.
Yeah.
The expectations and the fan base want more. And who else wants it more? The players want it more, and the coach wants it more. So people that are frustrated with the program and frustrated with the players and frustrated with coach, trust me, he wants it more than you do. He played on that floor. He wore the colors for that school. He wants this very badly too. Things aren't going his way right now, and it's up to him to fix it. And that's what he has to do. It doesn't even have to be. It's all about the regular season. That starts now. It starts now because, in the quote unquote olden days, it's like you have your recruiting class and that's it. We know what we got coming into next season. Now with the transfer portal, you have an extra opportunity to go out there and find talent and bring them to your university. So best believe coaches on the phone, making phone calls, making connections, seeing who's in the portal. Like, all right, we need a point guard. We need a shooting guard. We need a power forward. We need X, Y, and Z. We need a shooter to come off the bench. He's making these phone calls, trying to make sure that cats know, hey, man, UD is a place where you can come and be behind a great fan base and get on the court and make some plays. So it starts right now. It doesn't start, all right, when they start practicing. All that is happening right now. So trust me, nobody knows that they need to win or wants to win more than Coach AG.
And last thing before we get to our next call, I will say that all the negativity on social media, while everyone is saying, there's just a lot of venom on social media. Here's why I think it's a good thing. The reason there's a lot of venom on social media, and it's not right, but that means there's interest. You want to know what I would consider to be a problem? Making the tournament 1 time in 6 years and no one having an opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually, say what you want, Flyer fans, but people being outraged right now and spewing this on social media, it's actually a good thing. It's showing that the fans have expectations and they want their program to succeed. What you don't want is just that running in place, that just, better luck next year mentality. That's not a good mentality. The mentality is the fans are upset because they're demanding more out of the program, and that's a good thing. You want those expectations because that means there's a demand for your product, bottom line. So same thing with Ohio State basketball. It's annoying because some of those fans don't even watch basketball until after January when the national championship game's done. They flip on the channel and they're like, this Buckeye team, they've won 13 games. They're pretty good. Then they start losing in Big Ten and they act like they have it all figured out. So.
Well, there is a Buckeye team that made it to the Sweet 16.
Women's basketball.
Yes, sir. They play UConn on Saturday at 4:00.
518-1410. Who we got? Kevin?
We got Spoon, line 2.
The Spoon. Spoon, how are you, sir?
My fellow American, what's going on?
You know how long it's been since I've heard that? I was all anxious when I saw Spoon was on hold. I'm like, yes, I get to hear those tones. Oh man, how are you?
I'm just a squirrel trying to find some nuts, my fellow American. How y'all doing?
Good.
Hey,
I know you're gonna disagree with us or with me, so I'm perfectly fine with what.
Not really. Before we get into UD, how did we get Elijah Moore? I just heard that.
Oh, the Browns traded a second round pick their 42nd pick, their second-round pick for Elijah Moore, and the Browns got a third-round pick back from the Jets. So they have their speedster wide receiver, and he's still on. He has 2 years of a rookie deal left, and he's being paid under $2 million for the next 2 years. It's actually a very good deal for the Browns.
I am surprised the Jets gave up on him so soon. Especially if they want to get Aaron Rodgers. Surprised they gave up on him.
They signed McCall Hardman or whatever his name is. They signed him. Obviously, they have Garrett Wilson, so they have some weapons. But I think that second round pick that they just got from the Browns, I think they're going to package that up and that's what they needed to get that deal done with Aaron Rodgers. I'm curious to see how long before they get that deal done. So
I was hoping we would get that linebacker from Iowa with the second pick. I forgot his name already. The big linebacker from Iowa, Campbell. Jack Campbell. Yeah, that's what we get. But anyway, let's get to UD.
Yes, sir.
I hate to see what North Carolina fans are saying right now, winning the national championship but not making the tournament. These guys are going crazy over this, man. Come on, we don't have 5 high school All-Americans like North Carolina does. We had no outside shooting this year. That's what killed Dayton. No outside shooting. We had the best 1-2 inside punch probably in college basketball, and Holmes and Kamara, and that's never happened. But we had nothing to compliment them. We didn't have a Jalen Crutcher or nothing like that to compliment them. Because when Kobe Elvis got hurt, that basically killed our outside shooting because Kobe Bryant is up and down, up and down, up and down. And Blakely ain't hit a shot since last year. So that's what killed Dayton this year. No outside shooting. And I agree with you, man. I was so furious when we didn't take that NIT bid because we've had the same roster all year. We've been winning games, losing games all year, and we made the A-10 championship game and losing because we had no outside shooting. None at all.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't think the noise would be as loud right now about the criticism if there wasn't that top 25 the preseason
That's
poll.
what it was.
So sometimes those could be dangerous because you like him, you embrace him. It's good for recruiting and marketing and stuff. But honestly, the whole reason that the noise is as loud as it is right now is because at the end of the day, no matter how they finish the season, and they still finish the season pretty well, it's still a very good season. It just feels you would think Spoon that this team won 11 games this year. With the way that the fans are acting, you would think that AG had this team winning 11 games this year. They were in the A-10 title game, but I think if there wasn't top 25 expectations preseason polls coming into the year, I think there's noise, but I don't think it's as loud as what it is right now.
Right, but Carolina was a national champions last year.
Yep,
national champions,
runner up,
and those guys didn't even make runner up, but didn't even make the tournament with 3 of the top 25 players, 50 players in the country on that roster.
They were preseason number 1.
Preseason number 1, and Kentucky only got in because they had a late season run, but they got a bevy of All-Americans on that team, and people are really mad at Calipari because he's only got 1 championship, and he got 19 million NBA players right now on teams, But anyway, 2 players that really went under the radar that UD had. I bet they wish they would have kept Lynn Greer, and remember a kid named Frank Policelli?
Yep. He's back in the portal. How about this one? They probably win the league, Spoon. They probably win the league and the title game. How about the name Dwayne Cohill? They have Dwayne Cohill.
Man.
If it wasn't for Antoine Davis, the guy that nearly set the all-time scoring rate, if it wasn't for him, Dwayne Cohill, former Flyer, he would have won the Horizon League Player of the Year. That kid's a player. He would have definitely helped UD. So
I tell you, I used to hate the fact that they couldn't play the next year. But it's really created a monster. 2 of the best state players in this area 4 years ago are now on their 3rd schools, and that's Amari Davis and Samari Curtis.
Yep.
They've been in 3 different schools, about to become 4 from what I hear. But I forgot about Cohill, man. Cohill would have really helped this team this year. But that's basically what I had to say, man. It's been a long time talking to you guys, man.
Sir, it's always great hearing from you. I hope you're doing well.
And go Browns.
Go. That's the other reason I missed you calling in all the time. Take care, sir. Take care.
Go Browns. Take care, man. Bye.
All right, good stuff there. All right, Kenner and Cav 1410 ESPN Radio. Hold on. Let's see. We got Ron.
Uh-oh.
Ron, you're on live. It's a new year. I expect a new you. No cussing now.
Oh, no way, man.
No way.
No, remember you're on live. Just so you're clear.
Yeah, I'm not on hold. So, yeah, you're really high on that Browns team next year, aren't you?
Yes, Ron, I am. You're really high too, aren't you?
No, I mean, really, I mean, you're really building him up to be that great and everything. But
well, let me ask you, even though I probably know the answer. You look at that Browns roster, and what's your takeaway?
I mean, they're pretty good. I'll give you that.
Hmm.
I'll give you that. But there's just something about that team that just can't do it. I don't know, man. It's like karma or something. I don't know what happened there. Or since you started rooting for them, they can't win.
To be fair, the best years since the Browns have returned to Cleveland, the best years that they have had actually all started when I became a fan of the Browns. Let's just be clear.
The good luck charm. So you
mean,
weren't a fan when they went 0-16?
No, I'm one of them guys.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Actually, I was a fan of them that year, but it was brutal. But they were competitive. They were at least an interesting 0-16 team. They were in every game.
In every game to lose them.
So what do you think about your quarterback this year, Ron? I mean, you spent years bashing Baker Mayfield, calling him Baker Hayfield. Now he's your quarterback. I really want to see how you're going to flip this.
Well, after the first of the year, I've become a new person. So
after being suspended from the show?
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
But
a lot of time to.
I think that they got they still got a decent roster. They got pieces for him to work with. And if they use him right, I think he'll work out. I really do.
Who's that running back, by the way? I still think it's a good landing spot for Zeke. I'm curious where Zeke's going to end up. I keep thinking Tampa is probably a good fit.
Well, they let Fournette go, and they let Jones go.
The Cowboys
they got
Jones, right? Yeah.
Right now, they got Richard White. He's pretty good. He came out of Arizona State. They just signed a guy out of Arizona named Chase Edmonds that played for Miami too. He's a running back.
Okay.
Kind of a speedster. So I think we'll be all right. They did cut Cameron Brate, and they cut a few players, but they're trying to re-sign like defense. So
all right,
we'll be all.
Ron, good hearing from you.
Yeah. Hey, I was good. I didn't use any bombs.
No, you did not.
Thank goodness.
But you need to bring the heat a little bit. I mean, you came in, you're kind of, you're just
tap dancing.
Yeah, you're tap dancing. Like it's like you don't know how to talk.
I'm just kind of breaking in. You know what I mean? It's been a while.
All right, Ron, good hearing from you. Take care, buddy.
All right, bye.
518-1410. Heard from Spoon. I haven't heard from Spoon to my fellow Americans. I haven't
It was
heard
all
him.
good till he said go Browns.
Spoon's a great man. Great man. All right, folks. Kenner and Cap, 1410 ESPN Radio.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
College basketball frickin' heats up this year like never before. Frickers brings back a fan favorite, frickin' street tacos that add to the drama that the tournament provides. Frickin' chicken tacos, charbroiled chicken tacos, and Mississippi barbecue taco. Frickers also scores with a 48-ounce personal pitcher of ice-cold domestic draft beer for only $6.50 all the games. Frickin' street tacos, $6.50 personal pitchers, nowhere else but the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
This is Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's public schools serve 1.6 million students of all races, backgrounds, genders, and abilities. The diversity in our classrooms is what make them such powerful learning environments for all of us. This Disability Awareness Month, we're celebrating our public schools' vital role as safe, welcoming places for all children to learn, grow, and thrive. No exceptions.
Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Families in poverty are facing a global food crisis. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Have a hot take of your own that you're just dying to get off your chest? Text or call the ESPN Dayton hotline at 937-518-1410. That's how you can be a part of our local shows throughout the week, like the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m., and the Keith Byers Show, Mondays at noon. Call or text the shows at 937-518-1410. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Appreciate the calls, the interaction today live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page, ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, streaming live at wingam.com. We appreciate everyone who takes part in the show, whether you're calling in, texting in, watching, listening, however you may be doing it. We appreciate it. Next Thursday, opening day, Frickers will be sending Kinner and Kev live to opening day at Great American Ballpark from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. You can catch the special opening day broadcast from Great American Ballpark right here on 1410 Wing AM. We are Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds, so we're excited about that. Never been to opening day, so I'm pretty jacked to kick off the morning. Yeah, pretty excited to kick off the morning at Great American Ballpark. Kinner and Kev, again, will be catching up with some players. We'll be catching up with Marty Brenneman. We'll be hearing, of course, from Tommy Thrall, the voice of the Reds, all in build up to that day's opening day matchup. So we're pretty jacked about the Reds opening day right here on Dayton's radio, home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN radio. The Cleveland Browns get Elijah Moore. They trade a second-round pick. Again, no first-round picks because they got rid of the first-round picks last year's, this year's, and next year's to acquire Deshaun Watson. The second-round pick, I see people complaining on social media. I can't believe the Browns got rid of another draft pick. Well, you got to realize at that number 42 spot where the Browns were, they were going to draft a wide receiver. The Browns' history at drafting wide receiver, especially with Andrew Berry, has not gone very well. So, but the fact that they are using that number 42 pick for a wide receiver and they're getting a proven guy that's been in the NFL for 2 years and they still have a guy under rookie contract for 2 more years in Elijah Moore, I actually think it's a hell of a get for the Cleveland Browns. They actually got a draft pick back in return as well. They sent the Jets a second-round pick. The Cleveland Browns get Elijah Moore, the receiver they were looking for, and a third-round pick. So I think that, and then you think about what the Jets were able to do. The fact that they had a busy wide receiver room because they did sign, another wide receiver earlier today. So they had to move on for more. Moore wasn't happy there anyways, even before all of the changes that were starting to happen in New York. And the Jets needed additional high draft picks because the Packers keep asking for more and more. Like, you want an MVP caliber quarterback, you want a chance to basically win a Super Bowl. What's it worth to you? Well, I think this helps. I think that this deal with the Browns actually might help facilitate the deal to finally get Aaron Rodgers over in New York and put him with the Jets. So we'll see what ends up happening. But 518-1410, appreciate the calls that we've had today. Let's keep it going. We got Jerry. Jerry, thanks for holding. Welcome, sir.
Gentlemen, I agree with you, Kenner. I think that's a good trade for the Browns, man. You get a proven player, and there's no guarantee you would have had a good receiver at 42. I mean, this is not a deep draft class for receivers, so good for you guys.
No, and look, Elijah Moore, I think, he's the number 2 wide receiver on the Jets, and he's the Browns' number 3 wide receiver. You gave up a second-rounder to get him. It might seem high. The Browns gave up a 5th-round pick last year to get Amari Cooper. Now, you could say, how do you give up a 5th to get Amari Cooper, but you get a 2nd to get Elijah Moore? Well, the Browns got a steal in Amari Cooper, in my opinion, only giving up a 5th-round pick to get him. I think that, you know what I mean? Like, a 5th-round pick for Elijah Moore makes sense, but a 2nd-round pick for Amari Cooper would have seemed more likely. That's why I think it was a steal last year. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Amari Cooper, I thought, obviously, he had a great year for Cleveland. We'll see if he can keep it going.
Well, you know my opinion about Amari, but I mean, there were 20 million reasons why it was only a 5th round pick. Let's be honest.
There's a,
right?
more of a cash dump and a salary cap, which really Cowboys didn't need to do that. That's what the other odd thing was too. But anyways, besides the point, Cleveland has a very good, they have a good room of weapons. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I think you'd have to be pleased with the moves your second favorite team's been making so far too, right?
Cowboys have been making very good moves.
Yeah, they're setting themselves up to go on a run, especially with Philly losing some of their key pieces. So, man, it could be a banner year for the Kenner teams.
So the thing that I find interesting, and Cleveland had to revamp their pass rush, and good for them. But, like, it is interesting watching what Philly's doing because we keep being told that it's all about the defense. You look at what the Niners did. They go and they get Hargrove. They were already the best defense. I mean, them and the Eagles, the two best pass rushing teams in the league. They add even more depth to that. That's interesting, okay? But what the Eagles are doing is they're not – I mean, they moved on from Miles Sanders, but they always do that. They weren't going to extend the running back. It's easier to find backs. They're basically letting their whole defense get blown up, but they're keeping their offense intact. And I think that's interesting because although defense is key, and they always say defense wins championships, well, what's pretty interesting is not an average offense beat a elite defense in the Super Bowl last year. Let's just be clear, right? Like, I know defenses, you need those great defenses, but the Eagles are basically telling you, we got to keep our line intact, we got to keep our quarterback, and we got to keep our wide receivers and run game strong. If it means taking a hit defensively, then so be it. That's why it is interesting seeing so many teams dive into the defensive deep end of the pool.
Yeah. Well, last week you had asked about the Raiders trading Waller, what was behind that. I think I might have a little insight to that if what I've been reading is to be believed. Apparently, as you probably know, the Raiders gave Waller a contract extension last year, made him the highest paid tight end in the league. Well, he gets hurt in the game against Kansas City, which was our 5th game. Okay, he gets hurt like in the first half. The next week was the Raiders' bye week. Rather than him coming in during the bye week and get treatment on his hamstring injury, he just completely doesn't come in for the whole week, right? So they fined him. Now, they kept it quiet, right? Now, I'm getting this from Michael Lombardi, who is, I think he's with the NFL Network. He's got a couple relatives who works in the Raiders front office. So this is where he's getting it from. But apparently, in addition to that, Waller also, they had later on in the year, they had a Thursday night game followed by a Monday night game. So they had that extended break during that week. Apparently, he completely ghosted the team during that time frame in between and only showed up like on Thursday before the Monday night game. So apparently that is what was behind them deciding to move on from Waller. I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is true, it would make sense why they would give up him for essentially a 3rd round draft pick. So there's that.
Yeah, the Giants, by the way, they're also being rumored to be in on the DeAndre Hopkins deal after getting, pulling off the Waller deal. So the Giants could be like, of all the teams, by the way, DeAndre Hopkins real quick, of where he could potentially end up. The Giants getting Waller was a big deal. They're loading up on weapons, but it's like DeAndre Hopkins, you could have taken a team-friendly deal to go play with Deshaun Watson in Cleveland or really play for Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or anyone if you wanted to. But now you're going to end up taking the money to go play with Daniel Jones, or you're going to go play with Kyler Murray, or you're going to go play with these weird quarterbacks that just don't make a lot of sense. But I think he's in the money-making business at this point.
Yep.
But
I agree. And then one last thing, and then I'll let you guys get out of here. As you know, Justin, I'm a Laker fan, and I am so hopeful LeBron gets back in time for the end of the regular season. It's going to be a shame if we miss the playoffs, because I think the moves that the front office made at the deadline, regardless of what happens this year, if this team stays together, I think the Lakers could be contenders next year. I really do.
Former Buckeye D'Lo, that was the most underrated grab at the trade deadline, in my opinion, because that guy's a scorer, and he can carry teams offensively on nights. And obviously, I'd like to see it a little bit more. But I think Anthony Davis, he drives me crazy. I think he's one of the most overrated players out there. He has the star ability to, he's one of the biggest stars in the league, but he cannot carry teams.
He can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy, and he just cannot carry a team. Simple as that.
If he could stay healthy, we're talking top 5 player, but he can't.
Nope.
And that don't underestimate the Vanderbilt guy we got too. That guy's a terror on defense. But
they got a lot
of
they got a lot of really good names at the deadline. That's for sure. Jerry, appreciate you.
Have a good one, gentlemen.
518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Again, just a reminder, we are Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds. A week from Thursday, opening day, Frickers will be sending Kinner and Kev live to Great American Ballpark for opening day, so we're excited about that matchup. Keep that in mind. We do have Red Spring Training Baseball coming up later on tonight as well. 8:50 coverage begins right here on Dayton's radio home of the Reds, 1410 Wing AM. The last spring training game of the season will be this Sunday, March 26th. Reds, Guardians, and then, of course, it's full steam ahead to the regular season opening day. The Reds will open up a 3-game series at home with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hopefully the Reds can pick up a couple wins. Again, you have Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Graham Ashcraft to kick things off, with that rotation. And this is as healthy as they're going to be. So it'll be interesting to see what they could do. And then they got the Cubs right after that. So Reds baseball coming up sooner than you think right here on 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
Our forecast: rain, breezy conditions, 50 tonight. Showers and breezy and 68 Thursday. More rain and 51 on Friday. I'm Rick Shrimp for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everyone, Kinner and Kev with you here on behalf of Twin Peaks. We're enjoying the tournament just like all of you. The star players, the upsets, the buzzer beaters. It's all great and all, but what makes it even better, it's where we're watching the games, right, Kev?
That's right, Kenner. Twin Peaks here in Beaver Creek is where we're taking in all the action. The games have been great, but their made-from-scratch menu items, along with their wide range of drink selections, makes Twin Peaks the best spot in the Miami Valley to watch all the tournament games.
That's right. We look forward to seeing all of you taking in the tournament at Twin Peaks in Beaver Creek.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Spring is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including all the March basketball tournament parties. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers. Fine wine, snacks, and ice. Plus, Rob's Beer Barn has apparel and gift cards. You can call, walk in, or drive through. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
With over 15 years of experience as your local lawn health provider, Lawn Plus knows what it takes to provide a thick, healthy lawn. We offer fertilization and weed control programs, aeration and seeding, as the best defense against weeds is a thick turf. If your current lawn care company is providing 6 to 8 applications, that is far too many. We offer the highest quality products and service to get the best results in just 4 applications a year. Call us today at 937-839-LAWN, and remember, if you give a weed an inch, it'll take a yard.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. This is Matt Crowder live at the gas station on 41st Street, reporting on those skyrocketing gas prices. Excuse me, miss, are you buying less gas now because of the high prices?
Oh, I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute, are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Well, does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow. Well, there you have it. Stop paying full price for gas. Download the free Upside app and get real cash back every time you buy gas. This is Matt Crowder Radio News Network. Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LANE for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LANE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LANE.
Now at Menards, save big money in your next project with 11% off everything. Update your home with new flooring from Tarkett. Choose from our wide selection of Tarkett waterproof vinyl plank, easy to install sheet vinyl, and durable laminate flooring. Bravado laminate flooring is only $159 per square foot after 11% rebate. Good through March 26th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
It's March, and you know what that means? Taxes are almost due. Jackson Hewitt can help you win tax season. That's the sound of your maximum tax refund. The sound of getting 50% off tax prep. The sound of many of our competitors' prices going up. And the sound of getting to your nearest Jackson Hewitt. Hurry in for 50% off tax prep before this offer expires April 9th. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Wendy's 2 for $6 is the best deal in fast food. Featuring the Dave Single Spicy Chicken Sandwich, 10-piece crispy nugs, or a mini of strawberry lemonade. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's. 2 for $6.
Dayton sports fans, for more local sports content, make sure to subscribe to Dayton's ESPN Radio YouTube channel. And don't miss the Miami Valley's only local sports talk show, The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 Wing AM.
College basketball freaking heats up this year like never before. Frickers brings back a fan favorite, frickin' street tacos that add to the drama that the tournament provides. Frickin' chicken tacos, charbroiled chicken tacos, and Mississippi barbecue taco. Frickers also scores with a 48-ounce personal pitcher of ice-cold domestic draft beer for only $6.50 all the games. Frickin' street tacos, $6.50 personal pitchers, nowhere else but the home for fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
United Rentals Spring Equipment Blowout is happening Thursday, March 23rd from 7 to 5. Skid steers, mini excavators, boom lifts, scissor lifts, forklifts, concrete tools, and more. Stop by United Rentals Spring Equipment Sale, March 23rd on Executive Boulevard in Huber Heights. And let's make a deal. Are you involved with a school or charitable fundraiser that holds an auction, bid and buy booth, or a raffle to raise money? Many of the most popular items at auctions or booths are autographed sports memorabilia items. How can you get great items in your event? Call Adam Walter at Sports Investments. Sports Investments has a consignment program for fundraisers that has provided outstanding items. You select items that are proven sellers, including autographed pieces from Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Joey Votto, the Big Red Machine, the Bengals, the Browns, UC, XU, UK, NKU, Dayton, Louisville, Notre Dame, and Ohio State. Sports Investments consigns the items to your group at a highly discounted price. And when they sell, you keep the profit. You don't pay anything in advance. And if something doesn't sell, you simply return it. You'll enjoy the experience of dealing with the Walter family. Call them at 513-891-5000. Email Adam at sportsinvestments.com or visit them on Montgomery Road, right off I-275, just 40 minutes from WING.
Hi, Greg McAfee here from McAfee Heating and Air. Inflation is hurting families. Gas and food prices continue to soar, but skilled trade jobs are paying at an all-time high rate. Why keep working for less? If you are experienced in HVAC, have a great attitude, love serving people, and enjoy working hard, apply today at mcair.com. That's mcair.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a